Speaking of sky machines, were you, when you were watching the Palestinian
Hamas,
Israel shit, were you like, that's a pretty nice paramotor? Or were you like, dog, that's a terrible paramotor, off-brand, wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole?
I couldn't tell what paramotor it was, like the brand. I looked at the wing, and but mostly I was like, I can't believe someone actually used it in war. So the U.S. Army trains on paramotors. It's crazy to me. But I have friends that are trainers, and they'll just they love the students. It's really easy to train like a 25-year-old athletic, active duty, fearless person, compared to somebody who can normally afford the sport. But we do it, and I'm like, this is dumb. You can hear me half a mile away if you're listening for me. And I move slow. I'm a really easy target. I'm bright in the sky. I just thought it was a dumb thing to do, but
I have to know
they kind of made it work.
Guy. And the only way to deal with you is a rifle, because I saw somebody was like, why does the Iron Dome shoot them down? Because it's not calibrated to shoot some guy in a lawn chair moving slow as fuck. It's calibrated to shoot those rockets that are traveling super fast at super high altitudes. It's a whole different
thing. If they can
hit
a rocket, they can hit a guy in a chair.
Again, they are calibrated for this. It is not Star Trek. Mr. Wolf, set it for paramotor mode. Yes, sir.
I don't know.
It baffles me that I don't know what they use to catch the rocket. Do they need a really hot running engine?
Well, you know what they say. There's only one way to stop a bad guy with a paramotor. It's a good
Nightwing, dude. If you went over there, like you could teach the Israelis to turn the tables on the repair skills.
I think
the first thing you need to know. This is a terrible idea. You're all going to die.
Are you guys positive? Because you have a bunch of brand new Tacomas. We could take these instead.
It seems like an idea that won't work twice. The next time someone sees somebody in the sky at 50 feet going upwards of 26, 28 miles an hour coming your way, they're going to shoot it.
It's literally like invading via hot air balloon. Like it's insane. That hot air balloon invasion might be a better move because no one is going to expect an attack.
If you look at what they're trying to traverse, though, if you look at what they're trying to traverse, though, like what's better for the money? Because they're going through multiple layers of wire and traps and gates and roads and people who actually give a fuck, and they're zipping over those people in the course of 20 minutes or something. They're just flying over all the obstacles. And, we've seen Woody do his thing. They can take off in somebody's backyard. I was shocked by the payload because I saw two dudes loaded down with combat gear on that thing with AKs and everything. And it's like, damn. Let's say there's skinny guys, 140, 150 pounds. They're still got another 25, 30 pounds of gear. Those things carry 300 or 400 pounds?
I would say 500 plus the thing itself.
So you could put a 500-pound bomb on a paramotor.
Well, you need the pilot too. So
you can put
get a little guy. You need a little guy.
380-pound bomb. Yeah.
Dude, you get a child and you put him in there.
I guess you could, yeah.
Can you not remote control it? It seems like that would be an easy thing.
You can. I know an instructor actually that has a remote controlled paramotor so that if you panic, he'll land you.
What? That's a good feature.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That is better. I would feel comfortable doing it that way. As long as he's good. He's good on this.
Very, very good. Yeah.
I'd want to play a couple of video games with him beforehand. See
that can't be legal, though. Yeah. That sounds so scary.
Yeah, it does sound scary.
This guy's very good. He has a thing where he wears these oversized white boots. He's kind of famous for them. And when he launches, he leaves them on the grass, and when he lands, he puts them back on. Like, I couldn't do that.
Okay.
Does he? He lands in his boots?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It's a lot of precision. It's pretty. He does it all the time. Like, it's a thing he can easily do every time.
The
giant boots.
Growing up in a small redneck town, one of the cool things you can do, and one of the like groups you can be part of is the volunteer fire department. And they had these speed trials, and I've never seen it really done, but so I don't know. But basically, alarm goes off. How quickly can you get your gear on and get in the truck? And they time you so that you can get your, I don't know, good old boy license or whatever. And the move, apparently, the riskiest of moves was jumping into your boots just jumping straight into them. But if you miss, you like twist your ankle and fall on the ground. You're trying to get up and put them on the way you should have from the beginning, and you really only saved 3 seconds. So I remember them talking about that a lot. Man, that seems lame to me.
It seems like the time that you respond, like if you get dressed really quickly, you can do it in 25 seconds? And if you get dressed like normally, 60 seconds, if you're doing it in a hurry, that 20 or 35 seconds extra seems like a very small part of the firefighting operation.
I think it's all they seem to care about. It was getting those boots on as fast as you could, that and just driving around a big old truck listening to the radio.
The reputation that I have from movies and TV is that the vast majority of the time at firehouses, they're not doing anything. But that can't be true, right?
Oh,
like,
no, they do almost nothing.
My father-in-law was a fireman. And so I forget his schedule. I think he worked 2 days, got 2 off, worked 3 days, got 2 off, and then just kept repeating. And he's like, it's terrible. It takes a lot of your time. We just want to work 24 hours and have the rest of the week off. And I was like, 24 hours? Wouldn't you just spend your time sleeping? That's what we do anyway. It's fine. That's normal. But anyway,
you don't want me well rested to fight the fire?
Apparently, a big part of like getting along with the boys at the firehouse was your culinary skills.
Yeah,
that makes sense. They're all about chili.
Boys.
Yep.
Yeah.
You need something to keep you spry and light on your feet. Chili. Can you imagine a worse way to start the day than chili?
Everyone's shitting their pants on the way to the fire.
Bathroom breaks during the fire all the time.
Yeah.
Kyle had the same thought with different resolutions.
Yeah. Although,
he's I'll be my pants.
We're not
that might be a good way to like reduce likelihood of like going to wars. Is like any federal politician who like votes us into a war has to have a blood relative fighting.
I don't know why we would have a draft anyway, because it seems like most of our military jobs, other than man with rifle who charges forward, requires like years of training. Like if you're going to operate a piece of real machinery that ain't a truck or a gun, it's like years to make you that guy. It seems like, especially if you're a pilot or
man with a rifle is that
man.
guy too.
You can get man with rifle good and ready to go in like 3 months. Like he's good to go on out there and get some work done. Like for sure,
maybe 3 months if he's already in shape. Yeah, but I thought there are other jobs that like I could do right now. Woody, 40 miles behind the front line. We need someone who drives trucks back and forth. We take you from the triage to the real hospital. Drive that ambulance. I'm like, oh shit, actually, I could do that.
Actually, Nightwing, we've been reading your file. This right here is the X3000 Paramotor. It has a top speed, if you're not going to believe this, 37 miles per hour. We're going to be sending you deep behind enemy lines, Nightwing. I know you're chomping at a bit, but please let me finish.
One time, my
look
buddy,
at him. He's taken off already. He loves the fight.
I had a friend. He's sort of a different. Well, he's still my friend, but he's married and not the same situation. But he would call me up and be like, "Woody, winds aloft are like 60 miles an hour right now at 4,000 feet. You want to go to Virginia?" And unless it was Tuesday or Thursday, I'd be like, "Yeah." And I had a ride once. I don't know how far. I think we went 120 miles in like 2 hours. Yeah. And
Gaza Strip, so it's like what, the size of New Jersey?
Yeah, it's like a 55 mile an hour tailwind at 5,000 feet. So we just went.
Not a lot of space. Yeah, so he was being bribed.
Provided with trips, gifts, and political donations in exchange for favors for Jack Abramoff's clients.
Thank God we caught the guy doing this. Can you imagine if our entire system was made up of politicians who took bribes and from special interest groups in order to dictate policy? Could you imagine that? And what the country would look like? Fuck.
It stretches the imagination, doesn't it, Taylor?
Can you imagine? Just like imagine with me, if like Boeing, Lockheed Martin, and Raytheon, all these military industrial contractors, imagine if they like dictated our foreign policy. That would be a horrifying reality.
Israel. There are a few issues in this world where I find it very difficult to come up to speed. My favorite is guns. Everyone who talks about gun statistics comes at it with an angle, right? They're either pro-gun or anti-gun. And if you want to know the truth, it's not Googleable. Like, you can't find it. Everyone who has looked into this is looking into it with an agenda.
Yeah,
all right.
It's like a documentary.
Israel, I find to be a similar thing. Like, what is happening over there? What did the Palestinians do that had the Israelis going bonkers, just like bombing the fuck out of them and mowing down the houses? And it always seems like Israel's the bad guys, yet they're America's good guys. Why do we give them billions in aid all the time? How does that help America? Is it
it doesn't help us at all. What the fuck? It's a world away. What are we doing over there? Like it's just so far. We have so many problems we need to deal with here in our own country, and it's like we're still fucking around a world away. No.
I saw this video from like the 80s of Joe Biden talking about this. Joe Biden, who had like a fair bit of brown hair covering his head, right? This is the 80s Joe Biden, about how great Israel was for America, and that if there wasn't an Israel, we would have to create an Israel, and it's the best $3.6 billion we spend every year. And what he didn't say was why. Why?
So he was probably taking money from the foreign lobby.
That sounds reasonable to me. Like it. Why is Israel such a? Why are they our allies? They always seem like the bad guys. And it's like, oh, we need a foothold over in the Middle East. How come? You know, we're energy independent now.
Don't we have an alliance with Saudi Arabia, which is way more significant strategically over there than Israel? Like, so that never made sense to me either.
I don't get it. And then they're literally an apartheid state. They have different laws based on your race. They like.
You won't find me saying a bad word about Israel. Stay strong, Israel. That's because Kyle is a secret member of Mossad. Is it the FPS Russia? No, FPS Israel from Mossad. Yeah, I don't know. That's a hot potato. The problem is I'm not. It's what he said. And if anyone ever asked me my opinion on that one, it's like I don't think I'm educated enough to give a good have a good opinion or make a good statement on Israel. I don't think any of us are, but it's like real hot potato. The most I feel like I can say like confidently is like, what are we doing over there? Like if it like whatever the reason is that we're there, it's clearly not benefiting American people. So we ran whatever experiment we're doing in the Middle East. Enough. Like
prior to energy independence, I might have been able to make a better argument than I can today. Now that we're energy independent,
we've got a global market for
somebody
oil,
else.
What happens over there does.
Whoever needs that oil can pay for their.
Makes sense because it's like, wait, so we spent 1,000 times more money to steal the oil than we could have bought it for. That doesn't make any sense. So we spent trillions of dollars over the years to secure oil. And we could have just bought it for cheap. And like, I don't know. The oil thing doesn't make any sense. Like Russia has oil, Canada has oil, we have oil. Like, it's not like it's just, a couple countries in the Middle East that have access to this shit.
Russia has a fuck ton of oil.
Yeah. Isn't Russia the biggest, or natural gas they're the biggest? I don't know about oil, but I think we might be. Are we? I don't know. We make a lot of natural gas, man.
We're not a bad guess. It doesn't sound dumb.
No, it doesn't sound. I just thought I heard something about like Russia having ridiculous wells of natural. I'm sure they do.
There might be a different answer to who has the most and who makes the most.
Mm-hmm. That is probably
that's true.
Very likely. Yeah. I don't care what Israel does to those people over there. They're probably doing the right thing. Would be. I want guess. All of our soldiers back. And yet, I'm reading like all these tweets, and I'll just go. A couple of them are in Arabic, so I'll skip those. Let's see. Armed settlers gathering in a place I can't pronounce amid fears of attacks on Palestinians. There were multiple calls organizing for it yesterday within Israeli groups on social media. There were some rough ones. Let's see. Israeli occupiers shockingly assault, batter, and lunge at Palestinian Christians to block their access to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Yeah. Israeli police are breaking into homes and assaulting its owners. Hashtag Israeli terrorism. Mob of Israeli terrorists lynch a Palestinian. Hashtag Israeli terrorism. One of the many reasons I love Ireland and its people love it. P.S. I bet the Israeli ambassador's answer was I don't know what that's in reference to. Israel is bombing media offices. Israel is bombing media offices in Palestine, so the truth can't be seen by the world. Hashtag Gaza under attack. Israel is attacking Palestinians with weapons like tear gas made in the U.S. and purchased from the U.S. funding. How non-existent one's heart and moral compass must be to believe that you are the rightful owner of someone else's home, to show up and enter the home, displace them physically, and as though their life in that home is your possession. Just a whole stream of stuff from our boy Fish.
And like every article you click on is like what he said. Clearly, their mind is made up before they even heard the story. What it seems to be is like the Israelis or Israel is making settlements, which is basically like they're going into to Palestinians' homes and being like, oh, legally you can't live here anymore. Goodbye. And they force them out, and then they take that house. And then some Palestinians are protesting against
that house and make a new one.
They bulldoze the house or just
take have to because of the smell.
A new one. And then and then Palestinians started protesting that. And then I think the Palestinians.
Why do they have bottles of water by the toilets?
You haven't thought of the smell, you bitch.
Consider the smell, you bitch. And then I think they were like doing fucked up shit to the protesters, the Palestinian protesters, like macing and rubber bullets. And then I saw two clips. I saw one of the rockets coming from Palestine. They look like rockets out of a time machine from so long. Like it was made out of pipes and bullshit, where it's just like just kind of coming in, and then
toppling end over end like I throw a football.
Yeah. They've got a bowling ball mortar like I used to use.
And you see these rockets coming in, and then you see Israel's Iron Dome defense like just fucking them all up, and then it's like, wow. Man, they didn't really get any of those through, other than I guess one. I think one person died in Israel. And then you see the response, and it's like scorched earth 2021 level Air Force attack, like firebombing entire areas. It's like, okay. Yeah,
I struggle with that a little bit. Like I know I just argued against Israel, but like if whoever, right, unspecified a stand, took out 13 people in a mall, and then we came back and downed a city, it might be like, well, you mess with the bull, this
goes back to his old adage, you're allowed to win.
You're allowed to win, right?
A lot of innocent people who had nothing to do with the attack.
I have seen hockey players where like I check Taylor and then Taylor checks me. I'm splattered against the plexiglass, and it's like, oh, Taylor got a penalty for being bigger and stronger. That's not how hockey works.
Well, I mean, to your point, Taylor, you said those people who were being killed had nothing to do with the attack.
Yeah,
the other day when that hockey player assaulted the other one, your idea for an appropriate response was not to go after the offending hockey player, but to go after the star that's on his team.
Yeah,
you thought that would be the best way to send a message.
Yeah, I'm definitely being hypocritical.
That shows you, Kyle.
I have no problem. Crisscross. Wow, I can look at different scenarios and have different analyses. It's almost whoa.
It's so difficult. Hockey rules apply to Palestine.
You know what? Okay. Then let's take the biggest guy in Palestine who can skate versus the biggest Israeli who can skate. It'll be fair because neither one of them play hockey at all, I guarantee.
Neither one of them
There's
can
more
skate.
Skating rinks in Israel than there are in Palestine.
Yeah, but how many? Does Israel even have a hockey team?
I don't know.
The IDF probably has a pro league or something, and then they go against the Spetsnaz or something.
Well, they would get butt fucked against Russia.
When I was in high school, I used to be like, Ghana doesn't even have an Olympic swimming team. I could make it.
It's just you and three real tall skinny guys who are drowning. No, it's you versus three tall skinny guys, and they're collecting the pool water to take home.
I have to quick run the race before they finish.
No, it's you against three really tall skinny guys. One of them's drowning, the other's collecting the clean water to take it home, and the other one's just taking the first bath he's had in like a year.
All the water's all soapy. He's ruining it. Yeah.
This is wonderful. What is over there like going hard as fuck? He's off the blocks like a
trying to
fucking
beat some
lightning
guy
bolt.
who's got those water wings around his biceps.
You're like the reverse of Cool Runnings, where you show up in Ghana to join their team. This is Matt Woodward. He has a pool at his house. This man has a pool at his house, and he is going to be the best swimmer in all the land. And you're just going to be top times in Ghana, and then you're going to go to the Olympics, and you're going to see some like guy from Norway. Fuck, that guy knows how to swim. Damn it, he has a pool too.
Bjorn, noted swimmer Bjorn Swimmerson.
I come from a long line of swimmers.
My father could swim. My grandfather could swim.
My mother could not swim. It is
no
1 week a year when it's not frozen.
Do it the Israel way, right?
Pub stomp the unarmed.
We haven't talked about Israel at all because it's such a fucking touchy subject, and like I don't know enough about it to like talk about it. But man, it just seems like they have been massacring people for like I think there's a ceasefire right now, but I keep reading that they're like blowing up the buildings where like the media is staying, and just.
There's one crazy clip where it's like some Palestinian journalist on top of a roof, and he's like filming just kind of out, and it shows like a preliminary, like I guess a targeting strike, and it like hits this big like 12-story building like nearby, and then you just see like boom, 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 like 5 more shots or whatever, and just like the whole like half the building just shorn off, and just
in Israel's defense, I heard a Palestinian mock somebody's uncle.
I've heard
they had it coming.
They have some really powerful slingshots over there. Those Palestinians with their powerful slingshots.
I'm sorry, what were you saying?
Well, but 4,000 rockets coming into Israel. I mean, again, this is impossible to have any type of opinion on, because number one, what's the source of information? I don't know
exactly.
What's true.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know enough to talk about.
The source of our information is largely Israel. Right?
Yeah. Like all I see is like.
But CNN, MSNBC, they're gonna be biased one way, and then you're gonna have counter. No one knows what's really. I don't know what's really going on. The second thing is, if you're what side am I on? If the Palestinians stop throwing missiles, I'm on their side. Okay, now Israel stop it. But what do you do? How do you mitigate that? 4,200 rockets in the last week. Okay, how do you handle
how many casualties? I think wasn't it 1?
Isn't that irrelevant?
Well,
I mean, it's not irrelevant if like one side is using like.
If I start rocketing your house, Taylor, your concern will not be the quality of my rockets.
Kyle, how about this? I come to your house, I force you out of your house, then I bulldoze your home, and then I build my own house there, and you protest, and then the police on my side shoot you with rubber bullets, and then your side starts shooting rudimentary rockets, and then my side uses scorched earth.
But Taylor,
I'm just laying it out.
Did you? I want to lay out the one important detail though. Like you said, you forced me out of my home. Didn't you own the land I had built my home on?
No,
I meaning you, my ancestors from 2,000 years ago owned it, so now I own it.
That's absurd. Yeah, it's outrageous.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I mean, legally they can go in there and
me claiming, I don't know, ownership of some England land from my great grandfather.
Again, I don't know the details. It all seems pretty messy to me. It seems like Israel is really punching down a lot of the time.
Again, let's talk about that. If Israel wanted to genocide and eradicate Gaza, they could do it in a heartbeat. They're not. I just, when you look at the logic of it, with their capabilities, if they wanted to take out Gaza, it would have been done already. So you got to look at that point as well. Like they're really showing some type of restraint here, and I don't know.
Restraint is being a problem. The loose support in the international community.
Yeah, that would be the thing. And like what you see is that they just kind of inch their way in, and so they take bits, and the international community the whole time is stop. The only people who are supporting you are the U.S. Well, I guess that's all it takes is the U.S. And that's that's the way it's kind of gone. Is like slowly you can look at the images of like what Israel looks like 60 years ago, 40 years ago, 20 years ago now.
What do you think the option is? Because if they stop mitigating the launchers, what are they just going to? What I've read, and I don't know shit because I don't either. They are coming after the people launching the rockets. And the people launching the rockets are, again, I don't know if this is true or not, but the story is that these people are being embedded in homes. AP building. There was a headquarters for communications for them. So they're targeting the source of the rockets. So that's what they're going after. And the thing is that when you put military capabilities in a civilian population, it's going to happen. It's a horrible thing. But what's the option? Just let it. Okay, we know if we know we're going to keep shooting rockets here because they're afraid to shoot back at us. So how does Israel mitigate? Iron Dome's going to run out of missiles eventually. They're a lot more expensive than the things that they're shooting from that come from Iran. So
they won't run out of missiles.
We give them $4 billion a year.
Yeah, we give them plenty of money for all that. Like their military is not lacking for anything.
Again, and I'm not claiming to have any answer. I'm asking a question here. Mm-hmm. What are the options available to them to protect Israeli lives, which include Muslims, Christians, Druids? There's people are dying across all face over there. So what is their option to mitigate these rockets? They can't. How do they stop?
I have no idea, but the way I'm looking at it is this is clearly a feud between tribes of people who have been there for thousands of years before the US, Russia, before these were countries, warring groups of people there. And for us to think we could solve it is, I think, silly. And so I don't know what they need to do over there, but they're not the United States. And so what the US needs to do is just back off a bit. We're not going to solve this. All we're doing is hemorrhaging lives, hemorrhaging money, losing tons of friends internationally for defending this all the time. It doesn't benefit us.
Do you support sending more money to help the Palestinians?
No. I'm saying pull all the foreign aid. Totally. We have enough problems in the U.S. We can handle problems here.
That's Taylor's.
Yeah.
It's
we
not
talked about homelessness.
It's not as if there's never any nuance, but if you were to predict Taylor's stance, it would be stop interfering all over the place everywhere.
Yeah, we keep losing. We keep just tripping ourselves over and over. Oh, this'll be the time that she holds the football down and this goes off without a hitch.
Yes, this time we kick the football, Taylor. It's going to be different.
I mean, we talked about so much with homelessness earlier. I'm pretty sure if we took all that money we're using, you're muted, Kyle. If we took all that money, we could pretty easily reopen a lot of these asylums that people need. That's where this kind of money should be spent. Helping
our
people
audience
here.
Gets the Charlie Brown references.
Oh, I bet they do. They live through Christmases and Thanksgiving. Everybody sees those, right?
I barely get it.
Oh, well, maybe my grandparents had it on a lot more than yours did.
Yeah, but he's old time.
Video for the Charlie Brown ref. You get to see it. That's Lucy. She's that Lucy.
But yeah, it's a clusterfuck that we're not.
No, I don't know what the answer to. But isolationism that is sort of an attractive option. Just staying out of it. I saw Biden just sold them. I saw Biden just sold them a ton of shit. It was in the hundreds of millions of dollars. The weapon deal he just did with Israel.
Now a lot of these people are like, oh, both parties are the same, and I'm like, no, they're not the same. In this regard, I can't tell the difference.
Yeah. Both
exactly
parties are pro-Israel, which is interesting. It's almost like they know something we don't.
In the Democrat side, pro-Israel was a very safe stance. Now the Democrats seem somewhat divided. There's a lot of people from the other side in the Democratic Party now.
It seems like the lever holders, though, like the Chuck Schumers, the Pelosi's, they're all still the same. It's more like the young, Biden. It's more like the young AOCs who aren't.
So we're doing our $50 patron hangout coming up pretty soon. If you want to take part, you can sign up in the Patreon below. It's coming up. And we have an Israeli tank commander in that group of people. So we'll get to talk to our boy. I don't want to use his real name because of what's going on right now, but he's an Israeli tank commander. And it's interesting.
Somebody ask him his kill-death ratio.
I'm going to. We're gonna.
Well, clearly infinite. He's alive.
He apparently had a really productive talk with Fish, who's from Lebanon, the other day. I guess they.
I like both of them.
They made it sound like if we could get those two to handle the peace talks, maybe we'd get somewhere.
Get him and Fish to handle it.
Yeah, two members of the RSK group have apparently made peace in the Middle East.
I rarely use any type of television as something that is educational right now, but there's a show on Netflix called Fauda. Fauda. It was written by a former IDF soldier, and he's as an undercover operative working in Gaza. and they do and it's a joint production between Arabs and Israeli producers, and they do a marvelous job of showing just how complex and just how just impossible the circumstances. It's not like Israel bad, Palestinian good. It's like it's just this tribal. You're about to kill me, so I kill you. But now they're brothers pissed at me. He tries to, it's just the chain reaction. And he called it Hammurabi's goat. And see, this funny part is basically this all happened when Hammurabi's goat went into somebody's field and ate the turnips, and the guy killed it, and he wouldn't pay the guy for the goat because the goat ate all the guy's turnips. So that's how it began 5,000 years ago. The goat crossed somebody's garden, and it's been escalating ever since. That's it's a great show. It's called Fauda, Fauda. It's one of the best written, and it's subtitles. But a friend of mine is.
No, that looks interesting. I'm reading about it right now.
It's again a friend of mine. His name is Gotti. He's a former IDF soldier, and he turned me onto it, and I was just like, all right, let me watch it. And I was reticent at first. I had like a background. And then the guy who's the lead actor is he's a former soldier, Israeli soldier, and he's one of the main writers on it. And he's such a good actor. He's like, oh my, because he's so authentic. His weapons handling, look at this guy, his weapons handling is just spot on. And then I read about, the guy's he's a former operative. And I recommend watching it so you get just how convoluted and impossible it is to find ground, because it's all revenge. It's all balancing energy. And how do you come out of that spiral? My fucking fear is that, man, that we're spinning that directions ourselves right now. It's like there's very little generosity or kind of trust that, okay, maybe somebody can do something different if I just give them the benefit of the doubt. There's like our poor, again, we're heading down that road faster than we think of, from my observations.
There's a little mini series coming out called The Human Factor that's on Amazon. I don't know if it's out yet, but it's about Israeli-Palestinian negotiations in the 90s, and it looks very good. And it seems pretty prescient, but coming out. What does it take to join the IDF? Like if you're a foreign national and you want in, do you just need a passport and a drive, or do I need like a percentage of Jewish heritage, blood, so to speak, Jew blood? To put it plainly, do I need, how much Jew blood do I need to like be able to join up with the IDF?
They're like, Mr. Myers, we can't let you in. You can't show up with the blood in vials.
My friend Harley hooked me up.
He gave me a big bag of Jew blood.
They're so woozy.
He's so tired. He's so sleepy.
For the homeland. Because I know if Harley were to like get on a plane and land in Tel Aviv, they'd be like, all right, soldier, extra large helmet, huh? Like they just throw him right in there, because they're mustering right now hundreds of thousands of foot troops.
I think everybody knows military service in Israel is mandatory, which means that all these like 25-year-olds are veterans and kind of ready to get right back in the game.
I'm hearing what I'm hearing is that like the last like the current class, if you will, or maybe for the current generation of IDF was complacent and ill-trained, and maybe they didn't have their eye on the ball or weren't motivated because I guess nothing horrible has happened for a while. But I've been watching a bunch of CNN. What's going to be crazy?
They're all better than us, though. They are ex-military and knows how to. I lumped you in there. You can operate a rifle better.
I don't know. I don't know anything about being in the military, though. I don't know. Like you'd say some military shit, and you'd be like this,
fake
and
it till you make it.
I'd be like, well, you want to go? You want to go? He's like, oh, you're gonna kill me, huh? Oh, let's fucking go. Let's take this shit off.
Yeah,
freaking only American. I came here to fight with you, brother. Oh, we're gonna have some pop. He's trying to tell me like down and be quiet and cut it out and shit. And I don't know his army man hand signals because I'm a fucking guy that shot watermelons on YouTube. So, but what I would say is that if they have 300,000 or 400,000 man army that they're mustering, that would seemingly be because they're gonna maybe form a perimeter, make sure we're secure, get the borders guarded, but then invade. then invade an area that's the size of New Jersey and is half the population's 18 or below, right? One of the most densely populated areas on the planet. They've been dropping whole neighborhoods for a week now. I mean, just, man, that is some shoddy construction work. It's almost like they made it out of mud brick because no one lets them have building supplies, but who knows? But that they've been dropping whole blocks of neighborhoods, but I think they're going to invade. I think they're going to go in with like boots on the ground, door to door, like we did in Fallujah.
When Russia was threatening to invade Kiev, I saw this Ukrainian soldier being like, "Come, I dare you." There'll be a rifle pointed out of every window. Every civilian is an information source on your location. It is not safe here. Bring it. And I don't know. I was just like, holy shit. And by the way, that all sounds true. Not every window, but there will be snipers. There will be all Russians are just going to get picked off in Kiev, and they'll guerrilla warfare on it. So, Kiev. Anyway, so they're going into Gaza, and my knee-jerk reaction, my first thought was like, dude, Israel's just way OP in this, right? They're going to smash these guys, and they have combined arms and the whole nine. But then it's like, it's hard to beat a motivated bunch of guerrilla warfare guys.
It is, but if they're like doing like huge carpet bombing raids and like, I don't think Gaza even controls their own water supply.
Oh, let me speak on that because
if I want to invade your house and I control your food and your water, there could not be an easier invasion. Like, so I just wait till you're destroyed.
Kyle needs.
So in general, the citizens of Gaza have like an amount of water each that they have every day. It's below, like, there's some health organizations, like a human being, the exact amount of, like 4 liters of water a day for X, Y, and Z. They get like 2 or something. Funny math, but you get my point. And so they have these big black rain barrels on the roof of every building. If you look, you'll see them. Big barrels. They're full of water because they're storing up water because they don't have enough on tap daily. Of course, the other people do. In any case, they to be fair though, they didn't build any water infrastructure for themselves, and you know the Israelis have all the water. Luck of the draw. The Israelis have all the water. And look, they're not selling the water. Okay, they're giving it away. So
I would
sure
say they're Jewish.
No, I'm not sure. I'm making that up. I'm not sure. They're not selling the water when they got all the water. That'd be awful. And the Israelis are good. You remember that? There's a speech at the end of Julius Caesar where I think it's Mark Antony. He's up there and he keeps saying an awful thing that Brutus and Gaius has done. You know, look how they rent noble Caesar's body here. Look at the wound there where Cassius's blade stabbed, and where Brutus's wound fell. And he's like showing, but these are noble men. Who can deny that these are noble men? He keeps going back to that. That's his fucking chorus for the fucking song of deception he's singing. It's beautiful. It's one of my favorite things. I don't know Shakespeare, but I know that speech. I love it. I relish it I play it all the time.
Is it in Rome, the TV show?
So they don't do the speech itself, but what you get, and I actually like this, is they have common folk in a bar describing having heard the speech. They're like, fucking Brutus go up there. And he's all blah, 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 economy, numbers, money, this and that. And Mark Antony got up there. Everybody likes Mark, you know. At first, he was saying how what they'd done was good. And then I started thinking maybe it wasn't. And it's like, it's his slow-witted like brain. Like he's explaining how he was duped by the slickest guy in Rome because Shakespeare's writing him to just completely win the crowd over and turn a crowd that was there to be like, yeah, down with the dictatorship, to one that was like, get those motherfuckers that fucked up Caesar. At the very end, the crowd is incensed. They're roiling. They're ready to get somebody and burn a fucking house and get their wives too. And he's like, wait, noble friends, you have forgotten the will of Caesar that you would bid me read. Give me a moment. Let me read what Caesar has left unto you to each and every man 100 dinar. And everybody's, Caesar's so generous. And he has left unto every Roman man to walk in his orchards and his parks and his gardens of leisure. For all time they are given to the Roman people. Oh, mighty Caesar! Oh, and then it's just he's got them boiling by the end of it. I love that fucking
That's
scene.
cool.
Charlton Heston's like one of the best actors ever.
I think where Kyle was headed. I think Israel turned off the water, food, and
turned off the
electricity
water and the food and
a
the
couple days
electricity.
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you don't
Yeah.
last long with no water, food,
You last-
electricity.
Without water, 3 days. Right? So
Yeah.
I know Kyle's
Well, they're
Water
not
goes
out of
toward
water.
water.
They're just out of water pressure. What's interesting is you can see as
Okay.
they run out of fuel for their generators, because
Hmm.
at first it was like, yeah, it's Gaza, that dimly lit place over there. And it's like, that's Gaza, that place. Yeah, you see a window there, and that's where the hospital is. You can tell because they have generators. And now it's like, yeah, it's that dark, murky land in the distance. And I'm just imagining, like, now that they've got the whole city or the whole place, I don't know what to call it,
Region.
fucking blacked out. Now they can send in those fucking scary ass tier 1 ghost warriors that see fucking your body heat and shoot suppressed machine gun bullets in the night with robo dogs and shit.
But-
I wish that I could watch a movie about what's happening right now with special forces in
I feel
Gaza.
like we just glossed over it. They shut off their food, water, and electricity. The hospitals, they're dark now. All those babies on intubators, they just died. They're done. Everyone who needed electricity to survive in that hospital is dead now.
Yeah.
It's unfathomable to me that, like, what, a hospital with no power? No. They have like backups, and then the backups have backups. They're out of power. All those people are going to die. And oh, by the way, I imagine the hospitals are quite busy right now.
Yeah. The ones that are standing.
So, and no water. Like, no water. Now, Kyle said no water pressure. I don't know how to differentiate.
I was just kind of joking about their horrible situation. More of her saying that they've got like those tanks of water, so like they've got
for
some
now.
water.
They're probably rationing.
Oh yeah, I
and
mean they're going to
skipping-
run out of water to drink and food to eat, and
Like this
they won't
weekend.
have any. Some people are out of water this second and have been out of water for a couple days, I'm sure. And then there's some
They're
guy
going
who's
to start
gonna
fighting each other, perhaps.
I'm sure there'll be people who like never run out of water. They're like, yeah, I have so much. But
Now,
the
that
main
guy
thing-
might get shot by his friend.
I saw him using phosphorus last night.
Israel did.
Yeah, lots of.
Isn't that against the war rules? Or
Whose
no?
rules are you speaking of?
Yeah,
exactly.
Even America sent cluster bombs to Ukraine. And I was for that, by the way. But those rules apparently seem pretty.
We didn't agree to that. Like, so the cluster bomb thing, there's like 3 countries that didn't sign on, and it's like us, Russia, and Korea or something. Oh, that's the mine one. But there's a bunch of them that are like that. They're like, yeah, no, we're not going to take our force multiplying thing that we developed that cost that over the last few decades that kills the shit out of you. We're going to keep using it. Phosphorus. You'll see if you watch the footage, you'll see little bits of white burning stuff falling down seemingly slowly.
Like
but if it
sprinklers,
touches you,
like the 4th of July.
Yeah, if it touches you, it just burns you horrifically, and it starts lots of fires too. I'm surprised lots of Gaza isn't burning already if they're using that. I saw them use it out there. You've probably seen that, like,
can I say
that
something?
place where the boats are, the lagoony area. I
Mhm.
saw them hit that with that stuff.
I just linked together. Maybe you guys are. I bet everyone listening to this is faster than me, but I'm like, oh, actually, white phosphorus burning down on the buildings is a rough combo with no water. Like, those two things work together.
Oh no,
Yes.
water makes white phosphorus worse. Actually, the sand is
might-
going to help them here.
So I agree with what you're
Once
saying.
we have what we need.
But we have the rest of the building to concern ourselves with too, and the
Yeah.
building, burning the building next to it. And water's, I think, part of the
Their
solution.
primary building material seems to be mud brick.
It does.
It
Yeah, I
does
don't
not-
think that they control their own like construction
Building
material.
supplies?
Like everything has to go through
Yeah.
Israel, right?
Oh.
Is
I
that
would
right?
imagine so.
Think so.
Yes.
I think so. Everything else does. The people do.
Yeah, I would
water.
imagine
If
that
water
any
does,
alien-
I would imagine
It's an
yeah.
open air prison. That's what Gaza is. So let's just apply those rules. I think they use mackerel as money.
They might be using Max. because they clearly don't have access to anything that
They can't have cigarettes anymore.
Israel doesn't allow them to have.
Well, you know what Woody says. Fuck around and find out.
I'm really struggling with that and my own hypocrisy, right? Because I'm like all about this Ukraine. I'm obviously we should go in there and help. And then it happens in Israel, and I'm like, neither side has a halo in this. And like, I don't know if I'm right
believe
to
in
say
angels?
that.
I'm pretty sure that's anti-Semitic language you just used.
That's wildly anti-Semitic.
In my defense, it comes purely out of ignorance.
Yeah, I don't know. It just, the whole thing's awful.
It is.
I don't blame anyone for I don't blame the Israelis for what they're doing, because it's like, you got to be so mad and just want blood. Like if that happened here, look. Now I will say this: my hands are a little bit cleaner than the Israelis are, I would imagine. But if that happened here, you could imagine the hatred. I know Woody remembers like the motivation around 9/11. Like, you were mad at whoever did this. Like, we got to get that Osama bin Laden guy for sure. We should torture that guy. It's like, we should get him. I don't care about the rules. Get him.
About fighting Osama bin Laden if that scenario would ever happen. I used to consider.
All right, Osama.
Yeah, right. We send it on you, Woody. Rip and tear until it is done.
I didn't hear no bell.
Yeah, but he's 6'6". He's long and lanky.
I don't know.
He comes at you like
warfare.
Lincoln, right? He's got like some long
he would come at you like Lincoln. He was like 6'5", wasn't he?
Yeah, like tall and lanky.
I honestly
he's wearing those robes, so he's hard to get a beat on. Where to hit him?
32-year-old Woody kicks his ass. He does. I'm gonna fuck him up. I swear to God.
Yeah. Well, now he's living safely in Argentina.
But yeah, what I'm saying is like, man, that just made you bloodthirsty, and I get that's part of being a human, is being a bloodthirsty. Oh yeah, motherfucker. Well, let me show you what we can do. You don't even know what we're going to do when we find you after what you did to us. That's like in our blood. Like, you can feel it when you in a movie, when you watch an internet video and some poor old man is just trying to go through his day and some piece of shit's beating him, and then fucking Karate Master comes out of nowhere to kick that guy in the side of the head. You don't care that he fell poorly and his head hit the sidewalk. You're like, yeah, that's what fucking happens. You get brain damage for picking on old men. You get that's part of us. It's like smash his skull. Like we're all ready to do that.
It's one of my core principles. You're allowed to win. You are allowed to be bigger and stronger than your opponent. That's within the rules. I every once in a while in hockey, I see some guy get called
Taylor knows
for a legal check because he's big. Yeah, right. I get some guy called for a check in hockey, and I'm like, no, he's allowed to hit him. He's just big and strong. Don't call a penalty for that.
Yeah.
Back to Israel, they attacked Israel, right? I think the math proportionally works out to be like 7 9/11 simultaneously on one day. Imagine if that happened to us. And
9,473.
Like the amount of people they have dead compared to their population, etc. So anyway, now Israel's hitting them back, and I'm like, yeah, you fuck around, find out that's okay. Israel can. You did enough that Israel's justified a disproportionate response, in my opinion. But it makes it trickier for me when I consider that, like, they've turned
a lot of them
Gaza
are kids, and they are in an open air prison, and
they're in an open air prison. Their grievances were really legit. They just handled it in the wrong way. I wish instead of devoting that money to like 5,000 simultaneous missiles and paramotors and whatever, they just got attorneys. I bet it'd be more effective.
Attorneys against Israel?
If you think the Iron Dome is good, when you see our Lord.
Do you know how badly Israel would bamboozle the fuck out of Palestinian attorneys?
You thought we were tough on the battlefield. Welcome to court.
They'd have like jokes. They'd be like, who is Jewish? All of us say.
Okay.
I'm sorry, is this your first
influencers. Palestine, they just
Judge Yarmulke, how do you find?
Judge Yarmulke, how do you find? I don't think they're going to win any legal battles with Israel. I imagine Israel has a crack team of attorneys.
Maybe you're right.
Yeah, I mean, look. All I know is when I watch, I'm like, oh, it does get to that point after a while. It's like, you got him,
right?
You got him. They're crawling away. They're like, yes, we know. Now it will be easy to hit them. It's like, Well, hang on, you hit him. Now he can't crawl anymore. Oh, this is my favorite.
They're just warming up. They're only warming up. Like they may have accomplished disproportional response already.
I think they already got him.
100%.
I'm gonna be honest. They already got him, and everything that happens like now, it just really seems like it's like when that dad gets the pedophile, right?
Mm-hmm.
He goes all the way. So they're going all the way, and I don't think anybody can stop them, and I don't think anybody is. I hope they don't strike Iran too much. I know they blew up some
or at all.
Oh, interesting.
I know they blew up some landing strips in in Syria, maybe in Damascus, and then somewhere else because drones were being launched out of Lebanon and Syria at them from the north and I guess northeast. Geography is definitely not my strong suit, but yeah, if they go in there like Fallujah style, it's going to really kick off because then what you get is an insurgency because people from around the world are like, oh my God, are you telling me that Israel's going in on foot in Gaza? Man, that's what I do. He like shows you his medals. He's like Syria 2017 champion or whatever. Like that's how you get an insurgency is when you're like, hey, we're the people you hate. We're on the ground. Don't come in here, though. We wouldn't like that. We're dealing with your friends and relatives and countrymen and religion and the people who worship the same God as you. We're going to kill them. Don't sneak in here through tunnels through Egypt and Lebanon and Syria. But that's exactly what will happen. They need to get in there and get out. If they get in some protracted thing that's months and months like Ukraine is doing, it's going to be nasty.
Is it possible to end Gaza?
Just take it. Like they want to
kill them all.
Like they absolutely.
I don't know what you do. Kill them all. Give them an opportunity to run.
How many of them are there?
There's a couple million.
1 and 2 million is. I've heard 1 million and 2 million. So that's a big difference. I get it, but there you go.
It's a lot of people. A lot of.
Do you just
kids
kill 100,000 of them and then give the other 900,000 an opportunity to leave and not come back?
Why don't they give them an opportunity now?
Oh, I thought
who can swim?
You got to kill. 10%.
Head that way. America. Look, America's that way.
That's a long swim. Yeah,
you're goddamn right,
Taylor. Maybe it's a good idea to get. Actually, I think they're letting them out now, or are they just warning them? I forget.
They ain't letting nobody out.
I don't think they're letting anybody out, but I don't know.
But
I do know that they're warning them before they bomb their building. I think we talked about this on PKA, and they either call or they send. So they yell. They said they're going to kill the hostages. No, I should have finished my sentence. They send a shell or a rocket with no explosion. So now all you have is the equivalent of like a tree hitting your house, but you've been warned. The next one's going to go boom.
Yeah.
That's what they're.
That's doing. How you. Well, it is going on. You can tell because you get this footage where the Palestinians or Hamas or whomever is in the area will film the destruction of the building because they're going to hit this building in 30 minutes. Get the camera set up. So they'll have a GoPro in the street on a tripod. And the video will say that description is that in case you're wondering how we have why the camera is set up, because everybody's a conspiracy theorist. It's because the Israelis let them know that this is where they're going to drop their bomb. So we set up our camera here to film them drop the bomb. So it's, but they're not always giving them those warnings. Like I guarantee they dropped. Zach, I wish you'd find the number for exactly how many bombs they've dropped so far. It's thousands of bombs, thousands of buildings. It's got to be so many people. It's got to be It's got to be 10,000 people they've killed at least, right? And I wouldn't be surprised if they. It's
very densely packed.
Will they stop at 50, 100? Like I don't know what they're going to do. They're going hard over there, and seemingly no one in that country
6,000. What
6,000 bombs?
Oh, he didn't say 6,000 what? Yeah, I took it as deaths, but it's
just that every night when I check CNN, they're like, they say that they did like 300 strike missions, or they launched, and it's just these huge numbers. And then when I watch the impacts, like I said, they're dropping big buildings and 14-story apartment buildings seemingly, and blowing up mosques, and they are going about as hard as they've ever gone. But if they go in there and land, that'll be a shit show. That'll be something I don't know that we've seen. I mean, Fallujah
they don't
was
really
that.
Need to. Like they have such control over the situation.
They want to go in there and get their people, and they want to go in there and like get their hands dirty too. Frankly, I think they want to go in there and like get them.
Benjamin Netanyahu. I'm close on that. Maybe not perfect. Is kind of hardcore about fighting. That's his thing. and he's being sued. He was like about to go to prison or something. Like he was doing poorly. He's not popular, etc. And now they're rallying around the flag, and they're glad they have a hawk in there. So
yeah, it's a right-wing government. I know that, a particularly right-wing government. And then I saw a picture of him, I think from the 70s, maybe 71 or something, of him in his military fatigues holding a gun, like a fit, good-looking guy. Yeah, they're in their 9/11 post 9/11 American flag on every car mode, and they didn't really have a good George Bush at the rubble moment. They missed that part of the saga, but I feel like they're going to follow through with an Afghanistan imminently.
Did you watch any of the up footage out of the October 7 attack? Like I've been avoiding. Like I used to watch those crazy fucking beheading videos a long time ago. It really upset me, so I stopped. But I wanted to see what was actually going on, and
I have not seen that. No, I try not to watch.
I always watch everything
much.
When the Christchurch shooting happened in New Zealand, and that guy
I couldn't do that. No,
I watched all of that.
I couldn't do it.
It was a mistake to watch that. I did.
Was every version of that set to like Doom music or something?
He was playing. No,
I think that was his
Doom
music.
He was playing. It was like, I heard it described as meme music. I don't know enough about 4chan and that culture to know like the significance of the song he's playing, but I'm sure it was an inside joke or something.
He was saying like sub to PewDiePie, like he was for sure doing meme shit like while he was doing that.
He's doing the 3-point turn because he went the wrong way, and he's like, this is some Austin Powers shit. And you're like, man, this is a normal dude with like a sense of humor, and then he goes and murders. I don't remember how many people it was, but it's awful. But that's years ago.
I saw the
now.
first shot where he shot someone with a shotgun, and I turned it off because I got so fucking upset. Like it haunts me. Like I think the images get stuck in my head for weeks when I see that.
I thought
shit.
he was going to burn him alive. He got the gas cans out at one point.
When a mass murderer just like goes on the street and starts shooting, they're not that successful. But every so often they do it in such a way that they corner their victims and get a really high kill count, and it's horrific. It's like, I don't know. Imagine you went to a school and you're like, hey, no one gets hurt if you all sit here. Don't move. Go to the corner. And then you open fire. Like that is the kind of brutality that the New Zealand guy did. He found a place with no exits.
We just had the biggest mass shooting of all time. I don't remember what happened to him. Those people running from that concert, I think hundreds of them.
Oh, the Vegas one. Yeah.
No, in Israel.
In Israel,
260 people were at an outdoor concert.
No. It was hundreds. 260 people got fucking killed. I think that's the body count.
I've heard some horrific stuff about that day that's turned out not to be true. Of course, there's the 40 decapitated babies. I heard they were like raping women at the concert next to those women's dead body, the bodies of their friends.
That's what some witnesses initially reportedly said. But yeah,
I wonder. There's so much untrue stuff. I don't know what to believe.
Well, the big one right now, right, is that hospital.
Yeah.
So to catch everyone up, who, in case you're living in a hole, here's exactly what happened. A hospital in Gaza exploded, and Israel.
No. Hold on, wait. A hospital didn't explode. That's not what happened.
Yeah.
No.
A parking lot next to the hospital.
That was initially what was reported. They said
parking lot has severe potholes. I've seen the footage. They turned that parking lot into a parking lot.
It was initially reported that a hospital got leveled, and this is what came out of the Gaza Ministry of Health, which is run through Hamas. So like Hamas was telling the world Israel dropped a missile on a hospital, leveled it, and 500 people got killed. And then the evidence that came out today, or was it the day before? I'm not sure. Was it actually hit the parking lot, the adjacent parking lot? The crater was minuscule. And
are they saying that I didn't think they were trying to even claim that was the impact. That was just one of the impacts.
That was the main impact. Yeah.
The damage seems to be something you could ride a bicycle over.
Okay, so here's what happened. What I think happened, I don't know. I was watching the news a few hours ago, and some of this is different. You can see one of the Hamas rockets take off and sputter out in the air. Yeah. And then seconds later, you can see this fiery impact and explosion at the hospital.
Yeah.
And it's like, that clearly fell down there, or at least that makes sense. That seems like
the timing seems right. And the direction seems right.
So the problem here, of course, is, and the reason it's a topic of discussion is, every Arab nation in the world and hundreds of thousands of people in the streets are screaming that Israel airstruck that hospital, and they believe that it exploded and that there are 500 dead people, among them the babies that were out there dead in that press conference. Now, what you need to know is that Hamas is, we've got like political parties, and then we've got like whoever runs a hospital, but they just kind of got Hamas and they run everything. So Hamas stages this press conference and they're wearing their doctors' uniforms, but I don't know if they're doctors, and they got like dead bodies everywhere around them as they're crying. So that's the rallying cry of hundreds of thousands of people right now. Israel blew up the hospital. Here's the pile of dead babies. Here's the doctors holding them. Yeah. Fiery explosion, blah, blah, blah. What? Everyone else, and I don't just mean the right or the left, I mean like the UN weapons experts, ABC, CBS, MSNBC, everybody's like, here's all the evidence that shows you this is not what an Israeli airstrike looks like. Hang on, we've got 10,000 clips of what Israeli airstrikes look like because they've been doing it all week. See how everything explodes, goes flat, and there's this big zzz, boom? That's not what happened here. It looks like the Hamas rocket fell. Yeah, the fuel from the rocket in particular in that parking lot burnt a bunch of people up.
That makes sense.
But none of the major news organizations are coming out and saying like we think it was Israel or we think it was.
They better not.
They're coming out.
They better fucking not.
What the consensus is, there's a slowly emerging consensus since yesterday that it appears more likely than not that it was a missile or a rocket that originated from Gaza. But you can't rule out that it could have been some kind of small munitions. You can't 100% rule that out. The problem is that the fog of war is so fucking thick right now. And both the IDF and the Likud party and Netanyahu and Hamas are both aggressively pursuing a propaganda campaign because this has become an international event with actual real world consequences on diplomacy. Like Jordan canceled a meeting with Biden because of this narrative that Israel destroyed this hospital. And so both sides are trying to do whatever they can. Like the IDF released an audio tape that was supposedly of two Hamas people like talking to each other about how it was really there. But then there was some independent analysis that said that the syntax and the accent and like none of it matched up. And so like, it's hard, like it's impossible.
The Israelis showed me where the missiles came from. I'm like, hang on. God damn it. You're showing me too much evidence, Israel.
So it's not, a great idea.
When we set somebody up, we don't set them up all the way. Okay. You don't go full setup. They're like, here's where the missiles came from. Here are their flight path.
It's just not a good idea to react.
They have the bad guys on the phone going, it was us. Yeah, we messed up, boys.
We fired it from a cemetery. It's ours. Oh fuck! But like, this is why it's not a great idea to react like in real time to these kind of events. Like, it's much better to like wait a day or two. Like Rashida Tlaib, she was out there passionately like, "Fuck the U.S. for supporting them. Look at what they did." And then even when confronted with contradictory evidence, she like doubled down.
Is the other one Omar Sharif or something? I guess I struggle with names.
Ilhan Omar, to her credit, no, it's Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar. But Ilhan Omar, to her credit, she was citing an AP story that straight up said, Israeli airstrike killed whatever, and then she issued a correction saying, yesterday we cited an AP article. Now there's So to her credit, she actually like acknowledged. But
atrocity propaganda is so common at the start of every global conflict like this. Like everyone's going to try and convince the world, like,
don't see what the writing on the wall. We got to get going. We got to kill.
Yeah, you have to be a little more meted in your response to it because every side has a vested interest in making the other look as despicable as possible.
That really resonated with me. He's like, "Hey, after 9/11, America was mad. And we went out for justice and we got that justice. But boy, we kind of went too far and a lot of innocent people died because of it. Why don't you learn from our mistake?"
Yeah, I thought that was significant. Like that, I'd never heard a president like speak about the post 9/11 era in that way. And
George Bush has a little.
Did he?
There was this funny moment. He was talking about like not going into what was he talking? He was talking about not going into he's talking about Ukraine. He's like, it's never right to invade a country that hasn't done anything wrong and doesn't deserve this. A country like Iraq. Iraq too.
Oh yeah.
Woody, I sent you that article today, or not an article, rather. Actually, it was an article posted in the Paramotoring subreddit.
I did. I think I saw a screenshot or something, right? If you see something, shoot something.
Well, that was just me like riffing a little bit, but there was a serious article that got posted in there where someone somewhere, I don't think in the US, but they saw a paramotorist flying over and they panicked. They thought that there was some sort of a terrorist attack because they relate paramotors to terrorists.
That happened to me. Yeah, this is maybe 3-4 years ago, and I was flying with a friend of mine, and when we land, there's like cops there, lights going. Rather than land in my yard, this particular time I took off and landed in an airport. All right, cool. We get back, and there's like a cop car or two, and the lights are going, and we didn't think they were there for us. Like we hadn't done anything interesting.
Yeah.
And the cop comes over and he starts questioning us, like, "Hey, like, where were you? What were you doing? What's this?" And we're like, "Oh, these are paramotors. You don't need a license," and just sort of explaining what they are. Turns out someone had called 911, and they said that people were like dropping like terrorists were dropping things. And I was like, "Oh, well, I assure you, we didn't drop anything." And the cop is like, No, you don't understand. You're the thing. They thought that you were being dropped and going to attack North Carolina or something.
Oh,
and I was
think you're a parachutist, perhaps being dropped from a larger aircraft,
or something like that, or that we're some sort of gliding bomb. I don't know, but yeah. So we had a couple of cops greet us upon landing because they thought it was a terrorist attack.
People are so stupid.
That's what I thought.
I'm not saying I'm qualified to vote for president. I'm just saying that not everyone is. All right. If you make the test hard enough, I can't pass it. I won't argue with you. I won't say I am too smart enough to decide who's president. I won't argue with you.
There should be more questions about Rome on this test.
There should be.
There should be a few about Rome. I think they're pretty pertinent. The fall of the greatest empire of all time. There we were with hot running water, and then we went to the Dark Ages and like rubbing boiled down horse urine in our wounds for 1,000 fucking years. So it's a good idea to look at Rome if you're going to be voting. I'd like someone who knew the consequences of a failed republic. I'd like someone who knew the consequences of the most powerful power in not just a region, but now a globe failing. Before I do that, I wanted to ask you the point earlier. I don't know if you've been paramotoring lately, and I know it's getting into the colder months, so you probably won't be anytime soon. Would you be a little worried flying around North Carolina in your paramotor this weekend, say?
No, I wouldn't be worried because I like acrobatic paramotoring, which means I'm always really high. Even a good shot like you would struggle at 3,000 feet.
Oh, like fuck that. Yeah, no chance at all.
Yeah, but
no chance at all.
Right, but I do worry about like the perception that people. It used to be a curiosity. Oh, look at that. That's interesting. Now they might look at me a different way. Like, oh, some people feel that way about AKs. You see an AK and some guys are just like, well, to me, they're all machines and I like this machine. Other people are like, that's the enemy gun.
Yeah.
And suddenly I feel like that's the enemy air toy.
You know what? I would feel more comfortable if my sail was the American flag. I think a good old boy's less likely to shoot at Old Glory. But if
Confederate flag,
if he saw you coming over with like some tie-dye shit and he's like, it's the Palestinian flag, he could open up on you with his goose gun and you'd be in trouble.
You just have a roll of flags up there so you can swap as you go to different regions.
Old Glory shall keep you safe in North America, goddammit.
I feel like you're missing out with the Confederate flag idea. Anyone who's going to shoot is a fan of the Confederate flag in North Carolina.
You're goddamn right. A Confederate flag would keep you safe unless you crashed into Hood. And then they would tell the story of the Martian that they beat to death that time.
No, the Confederate flag would be great because like the old town Southern guys, they wouldn't shoot at you. And the libs who would hate it don't have guns.
What if you crash in a black?
So they would just like they'd shake their fist at it and be like, "Ooh, that racist!" But they wouldn't have guns. What are they going to do? Tweet about it?
They might.
Yeah, they would.
It's probably going to be a redneck. If anyone would
probably not.
Yeah, no, that's true. You're in a unique position.
Yeah. Okay. What's I see a lot of people up in arms about that Jewish what's the big influence group, the super whatever it's called, the
ADL.
Starts with an A.
APAC.
APAC, is that it?
I think it's American Israeli Political Action Conference or Committee.
I see them getting a lot of flack these days. I usually have, I feel like I can take the temperature of the room and kind of see how a world event might, because it's usually black and white, red and blue. But this time around with this Israeli thing, the left really don't know exactly how to feel about it.
Yeah.
It's a rather divisive issue on the left, and just some extent on the right, but not nearly as much, I don't think. You've got the evangelical Christians are always going to stand with God's chosen people and the Holy Land, et cetera, et cetera. So just done, the far right. So, but on the left, you've got a substantial amount of people who are like rocking that Palestinian flag and talking about, terrorism, basically, like there's some rough customers on the left, and they're really showing what they meant the whole time. A lot of the BLM, I love when I saw the Chicago BLM Twitter tweet out the Palestinian flagged out paramotor or whatever with the gun, and that's great.
Did they?
That was insane. I thought that was a parody. I retweeted that. I thought it was a fucking parody at first. I didn't think it was real.
No,
it's like
a paramotor outline with the Palestinian colors edited onto it, and like a gun on top or something, like an AK or something.
Here's why that's so crazy to me. I could get mildly on board with someone who was pro innocent civilian in Palestine or something.
Yeah.
I saw a little girl. She was 7 years old, being like, "Why are you attacking me?" She had dust all over her and everything. And it's okay. If you're trying to say war is horrible, let's talk about this. I get it. But to actually support the paramotorists, who did the shooting and shit, that's the horrible part. How can you be in favor of that? That's their 9/11.
Yeah, it's the most Jews killed, I think, in one day since the Holocaust.
Oh, I was wait. I let you finish. I'm glad I did, because I'm that can't be right. Little man called Adolf once says you're disrespecting his legacy.
I've been watching the Palestinian thing fairly closely, mostly on Reddit, on R Palestine or R Israeli conflict, all of the sketchier, smaller, newer subreddits that are showing the scariest stuff. It is not easy to watch that all this dead Palestinian civilian stuff. It's rough. Lots of dead children. Lots of blown apart children, compound fractures. They're laying there in pain. They're not being properly treated because there is no. So it's they're fucked. I saw them laying on the floor in what looked like hospital. If it wasn't a hospital, it was a makeshift hospital. Yeah. And these were kids. It is when you see a leg that doesn't look savable from the shin down, and it's an 8-year-old cute little girl. Then it's wow, this it's a situation.
Yeah.
They just bombed that refugee camp, right? They're hey, there's a bad guy in here, and they drop. Wait, did you say again?
They did again. So they bombed the refugee camp, and they took out the Ibrahim guy, who's some leader who they claim was part of the attack, leading it on foot, maybe. And then big outcry. How you can't strike a refugee camp? You knew the civilians were there, and they were yeah, we also knew he was there. Basically, they're yeah, fuck you. We knew he was there. He's hiding amongst civilians, so we blew him up with multiple 500-pound bombs. It left this crater that looks like God stuck his dick in the earth. And the next day, maybe 2 days later, again, they did it. I don't know if it's the exact same stamp. The Israelis are going so hard in the paint in a way that high school me wanted someone to feel it after 9/11. It was fucking go get them and don't hold back. It was I don't care. I don't want to hear about smart bombs. I don't want to hear about any of that shit. Get them B-52s in the air. So I know where they're coming from, but man, you can't watch that footage over there in Palestine and not think, wish we were way more accurate with these bombs, or at least more discriminate with where we dropped them. Or
when you told me, I think it was during.
I don't want to see dead children anymore.
I think it was during the hangout, Kyle, that you said yeah, they said there was one guy in the refugee camp, so they bombed the whole thing, and I thought you were joking. I hadn't seen that. I thought you.
That's how we roll too. Joking. Just to be fair, Like if Osama bin Laden's hiding out at Toys R Us, get fucked.
Yeah, we do lots of fucked up shit.
Actually,
right.
that's a bad example. They could have indiscriminately bombed Osama bin Laden's house, but
They didn't know it was
instead they went in there and
wanted
did it surgically.
That's why.
Yeah,
If they had a picture of him, they'd have blew that shit up.
there might have been more than one reason, because I've heard that they did that one in particular so that they didn't have collateral damage, that they didn't just bomb. What is
They
the
smoked his
key
wife.
country? It's not
It's Palestine, or excuse me,
I
Pakistan.
can't.
It's, Islamabad.
Pakistan. I couldn't not say Palestine, even though I knew it wasn't there.
I almost did the same fucking thing. So yeah.
yeah. So I think they just didn't want to like murder a bunch of Palestinians with 500-pound bombs like the Israelis did. That's what I.
You ever
what
watch
I
the
was
movie?
told.
You know, with the redhead, and the redhead CIA lady
Zero
who
Dark
found
30.
him. Zero Dark 30.
No,
good.
tell me more about the
No.
redhead.
It's isn't it Ron Howard's daughter?
Is it the Mad Men big
yeah.
tit bitch?
No, Christina Hendricks. No,
Oh,
no.
well, I don't even
It's
care.
the one who got fat.
Oh, never mind. Tell me less about the redhead. What's this movie?
It's Zero Dark 30 is very good. It's the story of the killing of Osama bin Laden, and it's really nitty gritty. It's a spy thriller, and it was that lady and Chris
Dallas
Pratt.
Bryce Howard.
Dallas Bryce Howard. Yeah.
Oh, Jurassic Park with the ass. Yes.
Yeah, with the ass, lots of ass.
Mhm.
They have to chop her ass down so that the posters don't look.
Now that's a war crime.
Uh-huh.
You shouldn't allow that. That's
Oh,
like
wow.
That's like breast
Oh.
reduction surgery.
Her uncle's one of the
Straight to
ugliest
jail.
men on the planet. Look at Clint Howard. They would use
Howard?
They used Clint
No.
Howard back in the day to be an alien in Star Trek every time they needed an ugly motherfucker.
Is Clint Howard the hideous guy in Spaceballs who like turns
absolutely.
around with the helmet on? Yeah.
Oh, well, I don't know about that. No, probably not. That's too long ago. Ron Howard's Opie from Andy Griffith Show and famed
Clint
Hollywood
Howard.
director, of course.
That's the Spaceballs guy.
I didn't know he was in Spaceballs.
He's
I've never seen Spaceballs.
Oh,
You never seen Spaceballs?
I've seen a movie that you haven't. That's wild.
I know enough about Spaceballs. I don't need
Wait,
to watch
actually,
Spaceballs.
shit, it is Jessica Chastain. Never mind, I was completely wrong.
Oh, well, I got a chance to see a hot redhead.
Well, hot redheads. There's only like 5 of them in Hollywood, so
They're all being pushed out. That's something we
Are
need
they?
to talk about. Is the hot redheads being pushed out?
So Taylor,
pushed
tell
out
us
of
more
what?
about this replacement theory.
Yeah, they're taking all the big titted, big booty redheads, and they're not putting them in movies anymore. And I know Kyle agrees with me on the redhead thing. You need more of them in
I agree with you
hot
on
redheads
all
in
the,
movies.
yeah, I like big titted redheads. Those are the best women in the world. And if I had a virus that I could release and it would spread like fire through this planet,
And it
killing
creates
every-
more. There are
No.
like brunette women waking up with bigger tits
That's
and
not
red
what
hair.
That's not what it would do.
No, Taylor's virus is pretty good.
My
but
virus is
seriously.
better than your virus. Fucking sucks.
My virus is a lot meaner than your virus,
No, well, my
What does it
virus
just
is
wipe
about
out
love,
the non-big redheaded titty?
and all the men.
except for
Oh,
you.
and all the men. I was gonna say, like,
It's just me and them. All 12 million of them.
Yeah, see, that's the difference between us. You're trying to hoard. I'm trying to spread
Yeah.
love.
This is
And
what
everyone-
Fauci was actually working on.
Yeah, a chicken in every pot and a naked, big-titted, red-headed bimbo in every bed. That would be my FDR style campaign.
The
Get
New
lots
Deal.
of them. We invade Scotland or Ireland. Both actually. They both have lots of redheads. Ship them all over here. Only the good ones though.
Only the good ones.
Only the attractive ones.
Okay.
There's a scale at Ellis Island, and we turn them back if it's too.
You don't
high.
need a scale. Just make the door so narrow that the big ones can't get through.
That's a good idea, and it's
quicker
like
that way.
it's curved in the tit and ass area, so any amount there is good.
I have to
Yeah.
put this out there. I think big tit fans are not forward thinking. Yeah, how long do you think this big titted hottie is going to stay that
When
way?
I think about a sexy woman, the first thing I think is, after I marry her, is she still going to be hot in 30 years? That's the first thing I think when I see a sexy woman.
Plan ahead.
really,
yes,
like,
yes.
this is
You should be
goal
packing
oriented.
money
I
aside.
think I wonder
for
what her
your
butthole
retirement
looks like.
and finding some Emma Watson looking chick to bury.
No,
to
that's
marry.
gay. No,
Yeah,
That's
it is
gay.
pretty gay
You-
to like
yeah.
Emma Watson. Yeah,
no,
that's true.
we want. I don't think I've ever been as triggered by a take of yours as that.
You want to marry a woman, you fucking homo?
Yeah, gay.
Yeah, that's your shit. All right. You got me. No,
So
no,
what are you going to
be-
do when you're elected to increase the amount of big-titted redheads?
Well, I am big on immigration policy, so that's just a side of things that people didn't, understand before. It's, I guess I'm very big on legal immigration from Scotland and Ireland specifically.
Yes. Yeah.
This is making a lot of sense.
I'm good with
selectively
that.
open borders.
Yes.
That's my.
Well, I mean, yeah. You just bring in absolute hotties.
That's literally how this country was founded, is hot Irish and Scottish women. So
yeah, just some big
and
like,
German
potato.
Way more Germans than you think.
Oh,
it's wild that World War I, we didn't have any sort of issue at all. There were so many Germans here.
Yeah, I mean, even here in Texas, like up by like Fredericksburg and places, there's places, cities here, entire cities that are just completely German dominated. Like German restaurants, half of the strip is just German restaurants. Like it's a huge, like still pockets of Germanic influence.
You know what I'd love to see? One of those South American like Nazi villages that's all Germanic with the architecture and everything, and there's fucking people still speaking the language and stuff. Some boys from Brazil type shit. I'd love to see that.
Did you see the one? It's down in Brazil. It's like this one town or whatever that is basically like descended from Confederates that left after the war. Ooh. And they still to this day dress up in like in fucking Confederate regalia, big Confederate flags, gone with the wind type of balls and everything. It's fucking wild.
That's bullshit. They need to adopt the culture of the country they move into.
Well, it looks like they've adopted it quite.
They're refugees. They're refugees, not immigrants. All right.
There's a big difference. When in Rome, do as the Romans do.
That's not very woke of you.
But I also like
trying to tear away the culture of those poor refugees.
You remember when Trump won,
driven from their home by the wall of northern aggression.
Like I do like that they did what all the celebrities in like 2015 where they're like, if Trump wins, I'm moving to Canada. Like those guys were like, if this doesn't turn out right, I'm moving to fucking to be named country way down there. And then they went. Money where their mouth is. They're still flying the stars and bars, eating fried chicken, whatever they're doing down there, having a good time.
I guarantee you their food is fucking awesome.
Yeah. Southern food is great. It's like, but having great food when it's all fried, big cheat code.
Southern food with Hispanic influence.
So it's even spicier. That's better. I like that.
All right. I need good food that doesn't make you fat. I'm with Taylor on this. It's easy enough to just deep fry everything, and you can deep fry a banana and make it good.
Yeah, I still will eat it, but like it is a bit cheaty where it's like we make the best fried chicken, and it's like
those.
If I ate mediocre fried chicken, it's fantastic.
I did Harley's show last night, and of course, being the biggest Jew I know, we talked about Israel quite a bit. I wanted to know where he was on the whole thing, pro-Palestine, pro-Israel. He refused to take a side. Frankly, I was surprised.
Did he?
But no, of course not.
No, I was gonna say I find that Harley sometimes articulates his thoughts around this really well. So.
He does. Yeah, he actually wasn't like super on. I don't remember exactly what he said, but he wasn't super on the Israeli side. But I've been watching it this week. So the Israelis claimed and have been claiming for a long time that there's this like command network of tunnels underneath the hospital. And they even showed like this CGI thing that they made, based on, I guess, dreams or whatever. And it looks like a video game. You like go. It's that scene from Resident Evil where they show you the hive underneath the house, and it's like, wow, multiple levels, big chambers, a spider web, a network of tunnels down there, like ants.
Yeah.
And they raided that hospital. They went in. They conquered enough land where like they own everything, and then they just went in with men, took the hospital over. And I'm gonna be honest, there were more guns and weapons at my house than they found in that hospital. Which look, they found guns and weapons in the hospital, but like not enough to
not
justify.
A command center to destroy hospitals.
That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Then they go outside, and they are within sight of the hospital. Like they're like, that's the hospital. And it's maybe 350 feet away, 400 feet away, like a big parking lot away. And here's a tunnel, and they've like blown up like the shed that concealed the tunnel. But sure enough, there's a real deal like tunnel. It's not some hole somebody dug. It's like lined with bricks, and there's a steel ladder and conduit going down it. But it's like, all right, you got, the entrance to like, I mean, that could be a well for all I know. You got to go down there. What happened to that Hive City you were showing me before?
Got WMDs under the children's wing.
No, for real?
Yeah, for sure.
Could it be anthrax?
It could be. I probably actually confirmed.
Could this tie them to back in 9/11 when they were mailing it out to all those senators? Are these the real 9/11 hijackers?
Yep, I think you're onto something. Yep.
In the network, in the Hive.
Got to keep bombing. one more 1,000 bombs.
Israel's lying so hardcore on this shit that it's become a little frustrating and almost weird. Like when you tell a lie that you know is going to get wildly disproven tomorrow, I don't understand the point of this lie. Maybe some people never hear the truth that follows it. I don't know. But if you tell a lie, I expect it to be something you expect to get away with. I don't know how to even deal with the level of lying that Israel's reporting.
Yeah. What's that old saying? A lie will make it twice around the world before the truth gets out of bed.
Mm-hmm. Osama bin Laden.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm baffled by it. I am ill-equipped to handle lying on a really massive, over-the-top scale.
Yeah, you're right. The lies from overseas are getting
the lies that are over the top. I'm not prepared to like exaggeration. I can kind of dial back and get pretty close to where the truth is.
You want a good example? Another lie?
Sure.
Yeah.
So they got their PR guy, their propaganda guy down in the hospital, and he's like, "We think this is the room where they kept hostages. Look here, a toilet with a curtain. Oh, and over here, look at this. This is the guards' duty list. This is where they checked in. Like this is where Muhammad would guard the guards, and then where Hakeem would guard the guards. And it's an Arabic thing on the wall, and
piece of paper and like a grid on the wall.
And I don't read Arabic, so I'm gonna take this motherfucker's word for it. I mean, he's showing it. They zoom in on the bitch, and everybody
like their lunch break schedule.
Anybody who can read Arabic goes, like no, that's just a calendar. That's just their like Monday. That's like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. like
yeah,
what are you
it
doing?
wasn't a schedule at all. And that's a great example, Kyle, because it ties into not only just an over the top lie that I wouldn't have expected them to make. I wouldn't have expected them to take a regular fucking calendar and tell me it was the duty list, the times that different guards work, but it's so obviously disprovable, so falsifiable.
And they don't need to, because there are hostages.
There are a billion people who can look at that piece of paper and identify you as a liar. I'm not one of them, but there's multi-billions who speak this language, I think.
I've seen.
And why would you try to get away with that lie?
Yeah, that takes an incredible amount of boldness to just be like, yeah, we're going with this propaganda that falls apart on 1 second of critical analysis. Like you have to be unbelievably bold to do that.
They did a thing also where they showed they were dropping off medical supplies for the hospital, and they're in these like big goofy crates that look empty, and they've taped a printout that says medical supplies in English to the side of them, and I'm just like, man, y'all suck at propaganda. You've had so much time to get ready for this. Like come on. The other side's so much better.
There's a Russian word for this disrespectful lying. I wish I had recall of it, but it's like, Taylor, if I'm lying to you and I know I'm lying and you know I'm lying and I know that you know I'm lying, right? So this is all out in the open, but I tell this lie because the power difference is so broad that you can't say shit. You're going to have to sit there and pretend that I'm not lying to you as I sit here and pretend I'm not lying to you. And there's nothing you can do about it because I'm Putin and you're anyone else in Russia. Yeah. And
Naglia Losh.
Is that what it's called?
Losh.
Is that the word?
Disrespectful lie. Well, yeah, that's infuriating. The media, powerful parties do that all the time where they're like, we know we're lying to you and you know we're lying, but you can't do fuck about it. Like you have no institutional authority.
I've also seen this, and this was, I watch a lot. So it's not that I'm watching it. Like I'm multitasking. Like I'm in my room and I'm on the internet and CNN's playing and I'm fucking around on my phone, but it plays in the background a lot. Okay. And they were definitely on this narrative path, specifically at CNN, maybe 20 days ago. Of like, whoa, they're going too hard in the paint. Look at all the dead Palestinians. They hadn't said a word about the October 7th stuff in a while. It was really about Israel's overreaction. That should have been the banner. Israel overreacts, question mark, exclamation. And somebody put their hand to them. Somebody came over and looked over their shoulder at their fucking PC screen and said, "Whoa, boys, forget who you work for? You're what team you're on? Wolf? Hey, Wolf, come here a minute, bitch. Yeah, heel, boy. You calm down.
On your hands and knees."
Larry King.
You end up like that light-skinned fellow that we let do the mornings now? Yeah, what was his name again? Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. We're going to send you to a different island, an island of torture.
Exactly. See, nobody knows.
Totally fired. He might have been fully fired.
I think he got skirted off the morning show. But they changed. All of a sudden, it was like, did you forget how awful October 7th was? Well, let me get a grandma on here to remind you. You want to see some crying babies? You want to see some dead children? It's just nothing but the awfulness that they did in there. And then when they do go back to Palestine, it's like, brave Israelis delve deep into terror country this morning.
Yeah.
Dude, October 7th is another thing that's like coming. We all heard it. 40 decapitated babies. 40 babies decapitated with a machete.
It was 40 dead babies and one decapitated. Like it shifted. It like mutated.
It's dropped all the way down to one dead baby and 0 decapitations is the last I heard. And I'm like, I don't know. It like you went with 40 decapitated babies, and I couldn't believe it, and I should have never believed it.
Here's what I think
atrocity propaganda at the beginning of conflicts, like that's why it's hard to believe stuff, because everyone is going to have a vested interest in making their opponent in it look as inhuman and despicable as possible. And so, but when stuff like that falls apart, it just makes you be like, oh, okay, they lied about something like that. What the fuck else is being lied about?
I wish that was more true, because I do what you say happened. So, but my observation is a lot of people just saw the lie and never followed up, and that becomes the truth.
That's true. And the people that promulgated that in the beginning, a lot of them, you're correct, are now never going to address it again. They just shot decapitated babies out into the ether, and then when it gets disproven or debunked or walked down or whatever, there's just no addressing it ever again. Just now let that exist out in the ether.
So I said this to Harley last night. What I think happened, but nobody tells this story. Although when I go to I don't know, there's some YouTubers who cover this who are Israeli, and what it seems like happened is when that thing went off, there were 2 groups of people. There was one group that was organized as fuck. It's like when you played in Tarkov, and you could tell there were some Chads and there were some rats. Okay. The Chads showed up. They had fucking sights on their guns. They had fucking maps. They had GPS coordinates. They had cell phones of their own. And then there were teams, right? With a plan. We're going to go to this kibbutz. You wait till a person comes up with their key card. You shoot them when the gate goes open. We go in together. Like there's a clear, coordinated extermination plan for kibbutzes, which is farming communities, by the way.
Thank you. I was going to ask.
But then there were some rats running around, flip flops, an AK, and a dream. And those guys were calling home all crazy, like, "Dad, I'm here. I'm in Israel. I killed 10 Jews with my bare hands. I'm calling you on a dirty Jew's phone right now." Like I'm paraphrasing, but that's exactly what he said, more or less. And that guy's not part of the team. And by the way, that guy's dad is like, "Oh, let me tell your mother." It was like he scored a touchdown. It's so awful over there. Like both, you know what I mean? Like Jesus Christ,
dude, you
don't
can't. It's every time you think like, all right, these are the baddies. I'm on the other side. Oh, wait a minute. These are the baddies too. I'm on the other side. It's hard to find a good guy in this conflict.
A lot of people are getting like at least going by social media and trends, like not in mainstream media. Like most people, myself included, like really don't like the group punishment stuff, where it's like collective punishment, where it's like, oh, we have to punish all of these people and just indiscriminately take them all on because of this small subsect of them. And that's
World War II.
So what you're saying is
and
Israel
the Civil War
is killing
every war
innocent Palestinians, and that's hard to get on board with.
Yeah. Where it's
every war is like that gets won. Yeah, everybody complains about us not winning wars. Israel's about to win one.
I mean, it's not a war to go in and just indiscriminately bomb civilian targets.
Like World War II?
I mean, mostly until like until England and Berlin got in their firebombing battle. Like there was an effort not to do that as much. Like you don't want to do that.
As soon as Churchill had justification, which is thin and somewhat fabricated, they didn't mean to hit London and kill those civilians. Really, they destroyed Dresden. I used to work with it. He's dead now, I'm sure, but he was like a 7 or 8 year old boy in Germany. He's like, I remember the bombings.
Yeah, I'm sure having your city firebombed would be fucking terrible. But like, yeah, like huge amounts of people are not cool with the collective punishment that's being put on.
I'm okay with it, I guess.
Yeah,
I think there's no way to. I don't think there's any way to get at the bad guys without killing a bunch of poor innocent people. And I mean,
it said like
there
this,
definitely are.
I was listening to this guy. He was a very good debater, and he was talking to someone and said, "Hey, collateral damage is just part of war. Like this happens. It's not something the Israelis want." So he asked this question. Let's say hypothetically that Hamas, the bad guys you really want, they're in Israel instead of Palestine. So now they're in Israel. Would Israel change their tactic about how they went after them? Would they just bomb a hospital or a refugee camp and say, hey, sorry about those 300 Israelis, but there was a Hamas leader there, so what are you going to do? Would they take out like apartment buildings, hospitals, whatever they're taking out, schools, and say, this school was fair game. Sorry, Israel, I know we're ruining our country, but there was a bad guy in that school. So fuck the whole building and all the innocents that come with it.
It's hard to make an equivalency there, though, right? Because in one, if like the case is in Palestine, where this didn't just flare up overnight. It's not like they're in, hey, some guys just ran into the school. Should we firebomb it? No, let's wait till tomorrow. Like that, they've been launching rockets for like years and years and years, right? Like they've always been using their schools and hospitals to house weaponry and to stage attacks and stuff like that. The equivalency would be like if they had all been in Israel doing that. If there had always been a bad neighborhood of Oxford
commas who is like, I'm not in control if Hamas puts a thing in this other room down there. Why are you killing me and the students?
Yeah.
Because Hamas is strong-arming one of the rooms in this building. Like I said, it was really powerful, the argument to me, for him to be like, you think Israel would do it differently if they were killing innocent Israelis? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. They'd be sending fucking Israeli SEAL Team 6 into there and precision surgically taking out the bad guys. It would just be open season John Wicking bad guys every time they could. But no, they're only Palestinians, subhuman rats, vermin, whatever. You can just go in there with a tank and blow out any building.
Quote Hitler over there.
And if there's a chance of hitting one Hamas guy, you can kill as many Palestinians as you want.
Yeah,
we're still good guys.
Dude,
right?
that story Kyle told, not even a story, when you told me, you're like, did you hear that Israel bombed a refugee camp? Like a whole camp because they said one guy was there. I was like,
got him.
There is 100% chance Kyle's being hyperbolic here. No, there was a guy they were going for, and they bombed the refugee.
Yeah, we blow up weddings when there's one guy.
Yeah, that's wrong too. That's bad.
And I think that one was literally an accident. Well, at least they told me it was. So what do I know?
Yeah, you want to minimize the number of civilians and people who are just trying to live their life getting caught in the crossfire and being killed. And there doesn't seem to be any effort of that at all. I think Rumsfeld would be on the opposite side saying,
oh, that was what he said right back in the day. He's like, we're creating terrorists, with every bomb. I think he had a quote.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad it's not us, on the front lines necessarily getting hurt. I know a lot of U.S. personnel's gotten. They keep talking about the traumatic brain injuries, which I think are being caused by either impacts or missile interceptions above their heads or outside secure facilities. But it's dozens now of U.S. personnel with these traumatic brain injuries. And they've had it before with like similar incidents of like rocket attacks or missile attacks or whatever in the Middle East. There aren't that many personnel out there, but the number of flare-ups that we've had in we're having a little war with Iran right now, like U.S. Versus Iran in Syria. Lots and lots of sites are being struck. And I think they shot down, someone shot down one of our Reaper drones last week.
Reaper. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I heard Reaper drones, and I'm like, did it work? Did it get them all high?
Everybody just needs to chill out. It's just land, man. Kill that guy.
It's just land until it's your land,
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
then when you're being told that you got to leave your house and, you know, you flee, and then the escape route gets bombed, it's like, yeah, this is not chill.
I mean,
yo, me, I
tone
give
down on the rhetoric.
That
I give this fucking 2 thumbs down.
Let's avoid facts. All right, Taylor, let's avoid the facts for a while.
That's how I review it. I go 1 star. Would have put 0 if I could. That's how I review it.
Yeah.
Like
It's a fucking mess. I want to see some more future tech. That's what I'm in this game for. I want to see some trophy system use. I want to see that foam that they use to seal up the tunnels or whatever. They said they're sending in like robots or drones, and then they're exploding and making foam to seal the tunnels up. I want to see that happen. I want to see some Terminator drones that like spider through and like kill people. Maybe I'd love to see that, a spider drone with a weapon.
Do you know what the foam is like afterwards, Kyle? So I have experience with expanding foam, and one of the use cases I've used it for that doesn't work is to keep mice out. So like in this house, maybe the wires were routed through like a 2x4 or something, and mice can fit in the smallest holes. So you have to like hit it with grade stuff, or it doesn't work. The mice will chew the foam and get out. You have to put steel wool in there, I've learned. Anyway, but if a mouse can bite the foam, then it seems like someone could claw through and unfoam a tunnel in a day or two. Like 3 motivated men with a shovel can wreck a lot of foam. Or is it tougher than that?
Yeah, that would be my question as well. Like I genuinely have no idea. The thing that seemed to make the most sense to me, I remember they were pumping seawater into them, you know, because the ocean's right there, and it's like, oh, that's how you do it. Back when I was a kid, you know, we had rats on the farm, and they would get under those concrete pads, like big concrete pads, and we would use carbon monoxide exhaust from an old truck. We'd plug up all the holes but 2. You'd have an entrance and an exit. Entrance on, you know, opposite sides of the big concrete pad, and we would pump the exhaust straight into it, and somebody'd be over there tapping their foot on the gas, and the rats would come stumbling out of the other side eventually, so drunk that they couldn't like stay upright really, and we would just, you know, pop them with a pistol as they came out.
Why wouldn't you just put like
a screen door over it?
A screen door or something. That way you don't have to worry about picking up a bunch of rats.
Yeah, I would just keep the rats right where they were.
Well, we want to get them all.
They feed the worms, and they go back into the atmosphere or whatever.
No, you want to see them, and we're getting something. So like part of it is we're going to drive them all out and get them. I want to see how many are.
So this was a day, you know, football wasn't on, and so you had to have something to do.
That's every day on like a farm. It's like, what do you want to do? We've done our chores. What would you like? There's 30 open projects we could work on.
What was your worst chore that you dreaded more than anything?
Anything where my hands got beat up or rough or dried out. Fencing is particularly hard. I don't know if you've ever driven steel fence posts with you use this fence post driver thing. You hold on each side. It goes over the top, sort of like it's hollow, and it goes over the post, and bing, 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 driving it. That's very hard work if the ground is hard, and it is here. It's hard, compressed red clay.
Mm-hmm.
That's really hard work.
I helped my grandpa take a fence down like 2 weeks ago when me and my brothers went down there. It was this old fence that was like probably 500 yards, like long and whatnot, and it had wire and everything. And I didn't fully like the way you do that is, you know, you go through, you unhook the wires and everything. Then one person goes and you take these were like just metal posts for an electric fence that was previously keeping cattle in. And you just get those metal sticks, the posts, and you bend them back and forth until they'll come out, and you pull them out. And we had a tractor.
That's how I do it. We use a tractor and we have a 3-inch wide nylon rope, and we just wrap it around it so it self-tightens.
Chain will do the same.
Only a couple of them were so bad that we needed to use the tractor, but the tractor was mostly like my brother was driving it next to me, and so I was going and like just picking up the metal pieces and throwing it into the tractor bale or collector, whatever. But I was in the job where, like, if you've ever spun up an old wire, like an electrified wire, like there's a little apparatus that you fold out and then stick in the ground, and then you start it by wrapping it on these 4 spokes, and then you just turn and crank it. And of course it's like right next to the ground. And so I was like in the worst back position for like an hour doing it. And I remember like getting probably, because I didn't look to see how long the fence was, but after like 25 minutes of just like, there's no crank on it. So you're just physically spinning it like this with your hands. I was like, this is awful. Being a farmer would suck. Like, my God, Grandpa, how did you do this for so long? This is the easiest part of farming.
He's like, wait, you gotta turn it on, son. It's like, rah, 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 rah. It just loads up. I've had some moments like that. You know, we try to hire people that know what they were doing. I saw your people finally got into that tunnel network underneath the hospital over there. And I saw a video of it today. I was a little underwhelmed. I'm gonna say, if you could get them to get some more footage, but it is more than I thought it was going to be, because at first it looked like nothing, but there definitely was like a little command tunnel down there.
You said your people. Now I have to go take the mezuzah off my front door.
Your good luck charm, you can't have it anymore. Or
I'd be putting lamb's blood on that thing every night.
It's so funny, the idea, because the idea of it's like, oh, your people referring to Israel is so interesting, because for so many reasons, because it's not like it's like my people Israel, there's Jews, there's people that aren't Jews, or do I automatically agree with what they do because I'm Jewish, or, you know, it's just like, it's such a funny thing. It's such a weird place. We don't have a country like that on this fucking planet where like if you're Jewish, you're allowed in. Everything's equal. Everyone's cool. You could come here. Not too many of you guys. Not all of you guys. Some come in slowly. But if you're Jewish, 100%, you're allowed. But everything's fair. Like, it's not like Jewish people are treated differently. You just get to go there and then live. You get
free vacation.
And then some people choose to take someone else's home or whatever, you know?
Right. But we treat them fairly, just as homeless.
I would say the thing that I do want to say my people, in the sense that, like, I hate the whole, like, I feel like it's the most anti-human thing to be so religious that your goal is to be a martyr. And even like for a certain cause, I would like to imagine that no matter what I've been through or grown up through, that if I had to kidnap a baby, and, you know, with the hopes that I die and the baby dies, because then I go to, you know, the religious belief attached to it, that whole connection is like insane to me. I don't back.
You're talking about Muslims with that, right?
Just jihad, the jihadist belief where you're an extremist, and there's extremists in all types of people, but Hamas is like, I feel like they abuse the Palestinian people. They indoctrinate children. And the videos and stuff that I've seen of them going in there and showing guns and being like, look what we found in the hospital, these guns.
Yeah, in the MRI
there are things that are underwhelming, and I'm just like, if you're gonna go do it and you're just gonna go and do your shit, don't put out these things. Don't put out things like this. Even if you did find guns there, like that's not gonna cut it.
They need to be.
Make the propaganda really, really good, or don't do it at all.
Don't put messaging out there that's not good messaging, and it's not helping it's not helping you, because
they showed that CGI of the command center down there, and then when they actually get down there, it's like, yeah, there's a tunnel network here. I'm seeing a lot of toilets.
I'm seeing a
lot of like, here's a room. He's like, here's a room where. And then he just starts making shit up. In this room, they could possibly be, you know, maybe the child room, or maybe this is where they vivisect the nuns.
I
would imagine in this room they cook children and devour them into their Muslim mouth. Nom, 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 nom.
What's crazy though is that room does exist though. But that room does exist. They will find it. It's not there, but it's under another hospital.
It's under a different
weapons of mass destruction. The Israeli lies has Israel losing me. I'm sure they're concerned, but like the calendar on the wall, that thing has gotten a lot of press and attention from me. The guy is on there. He says, look, this is a list of the people that are scheduled to like do their guard duties. And he acted like it was a list of terrorists. It was a calendar. Every word on there was one of the days of the week. Yeah. And everything else was a number. That it was nothing but a calendar. As simple and common as it could be. It wasn't a schedule. It wasn't anything. So
Yeah,
The
but
fact
so
that
they
he's telling me that lie,
paraglide.
but wait, it's very frustrating for me because, like, if I held up this thing and said, "This says I'm going to kill people," and you can read it yourself and it doesn't, that's a kind of lie that I'm not okay with.
But wait, so they paraglided it and they shot all these people. They took babies hostages. And then you're like, yeah, but
I already
that's
know they're
just the
cool.
calendars. I'm gonna go with these guys.
It's the Israeli lying. Now, I'm not for Hamas.
No, I'm messing
But
around. I'm oversimplifying for the sake of
I
that
saw
joke.
Israel put out footage of the tunnel networks, right? And this is like from Israel on their Twitter. The tunnel network was, I don't know what country it was, Sweden, Switzerland, something like that. It was from World War II in their defenses against the Germans. It had nothing to do with Israel. Yet they presented it as if it was the Hamas tunnel network because it was actually kind of impressive and scary to look at.
Cool tunnel.
Yeah, it's a cool tunnel, but fuck you for lying to me. Oh my God. Why is it you bold-faced lie to me?
Maybe
these easily disprovable lies every fucking day. Every fucking day you lie to me.
I do that with literally everything though. Like I do. Since I got since I got the vaccine and got boosted and just watched people fight over issues. And what's that?
You didn't get reboosted?
I got reboosted. Like I got needles, bro. Like someone owes me money. Someone owes me money.
You boosted up. You trust in the science over there?
I do that. Well, that was the problem. This is the problem. Well, this is the thing. I do trust science.
Now you're
and I do trust. I do trust. Get that out of there. I do trust. I do trust. Education and and because these things came into question around that time. But me getting vaccinated, stuff like that, and then something like a curfew happens where I'm living, or I have a vaccine passport. Things did get to a point where I'm like, okay, it's weird now. And throughout constantly like having discussions with people, some of my closest friends who are like, bro, I can't believe you got fucking vaccinated. Are you fucking stupid? If you're going to die in your boxing match now, bro, because you're vaccinated. Like there's like I have conversations with like friends of mine about that stuff. So I constantly got one side of the argument and I would go and look back. And this is something, and then he would show me how this was said here. This is a lie. And I would be like, that's a lie. And we go back and forth. I realized you could do that by yourself. And so, things from anything that is released has to be corroborated with other people. If Israel says something, no shot, I believe it. However, if the US or like BBC is sharing the same information, then I do. Hamas, sure. I obviously do not believe a fucking thing Hamas says at all. But I do, I think a lot of people hold Israel to a different level because it's an actual country, whereas Hamas is, they're the governing body of Gaza, but it's different. We don't hold them to the same regard. And that mismatch leads to like someone like yourself getting really mad when Israel's lying. And it's like, dude, they're both lying. Yeah, and whenever anyone says something, you have to go and check it. Like, for example, we're operating that 10,000 people are dead. I think 100 people dead is a tragedy. 10 people dead, one person. It's obviously not the point, but the number always comes up. And that number comes from Hamas, like the health minister of Gaza. So we count the bodies. It took a long time to get the bodies counted and well, I was saying it took a long time. No, I'm just saying the numbers. Yeah. The numbers that get released they come from one person, one source.
Numbers seem a little high, do they?
Numbers seem a little high. Could be. They could be higher. In fact, they could be higher. And I really think, like, with the amount of bombing that's going on
where are all the bodies?
It should be higher.
Israel claimed.
I'm not saying it should be higher. Like, I think it should be higher.
Israel claimed
you would expect the number to be higher.
On October 7th, 40 babies were decapitated.
I want pacifiers.
No. That was not. Israel did not claim that babies were decapitated. One source had said that there was a decapitated baby. And there was separately a soldier who was decapitated. A third news source took that, mixed it into one, and people ran with it on Twitter and it got out of hand. There was never a decapitated baby. There was one baby found in the oven. Apparently, the 200 foreign journalists watched all this footage that Israel did not want to release to public for the dignity of the victims or whatever, but they invited 200 foreign journalists to come in, and they had said that there was a baby in an oven, but there was no decapitated baby. But obviously,
I thought it was the IDF that said the initial decapitated baby thing, and then the IDF gave that info to media apparatuses, who then said like, this is true. But I went
looking for that because I was like, where did that start from? I saw one article from one news source in Israel that said that there was a decapitated baby.
Give me the floor for a second. On Wednesday, a spokesman for Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu told CNN that babies and toddlers were found with their heads decapitated in southern Israel after the Hamas attack. So I have it here that it was the spokesman for Benjamin Netanyahu who said it.
Yeah, and then I think Biden repeated it, and then later when asked about it, they were like, well, we haven't seen anything.
No, Biden said, I remember Biden saying something that's made it even worse. Biden said he did see it, something like that. He was like, yeah, I saw it, or I saw a decapitated baby.
I remember exactly what he said, and it was his muttering, mumbling nonsense that doesn't allow you to get, like, he sort of says the sentence 3 times, basically the same sentence, like moving the parts around. So you can't really tell exactly what he means. He's like, the things I saw, the things I
have a little more. The IDF claimed that they had relative confidence that the 40 decapitated babies was true. So to say that this had nothing to do with Israel's official communications is off target. And like you said, I think I'm applying a higher standard to Israel than I am Hamas, and then maybe that's unfair. But they
I don't think it's unfair. I don't think it's unfair. That's what we're supposed to do.
Democratically elected. They're supposed to be the good guys.
They have an air force.
They have an air force, and they're just bold-faced lying to us every fucking day. I saw an Israeli spokesman with my own eyes recently, like this week, claim that they haven't killed a single minor in Gaza. Not one child has died.
Who said that?
No. They said minors. There's no minors allowed in Gaza. You leave those resources in the ground.
He was an official spokesman for Israel on like a major, I don't know, maybe it was C-SPAN or something, or NPR.
And he said they didn't kill a single minor?
Yes. They wouldn't admit to killing a single person who wasn't like a Hamas warrior. Not one. And we're like, dude, you bombed a refugee camp.
But they do say, no, they didn't bomb a refugee camp.
Okay.
That part of the city is literally called, it's the name that was a refugee camp. That's what used to be a refugee camp. It's actually a city now, but it has the name refugee camp in it. But it wasn't a functioning, like if you look there, you're going to see building structures. That's a place. Okay. That's an actual location. However, it doesn't change. It doesn't change the things so
it was a camp where the Palestinians were sort of concentrated.
There are people there. Whatever it is, there's people. There's going to be people. People are getting bombed. People it's fucked up. And I know that like even after 9/11, how long it took to count and identify bodies happened in, there are unidentified people to this day at 9/11, 3,000, however many. But in Gaza, Biden got a 212-page document with 6,000 dead Palestinians with their unique identification number, their gender, their first and last name. That's incredible. That's incredible to be able to account for all of those bodies in an active war zone under the rubble without the manpower in such a short period of time. The number could be higher. It could be higher. I don't deny that. Also, having said that, though, there isn't a single Hamas death. Not one Hamas terrorist, literally, except for like 10 dudes that Israel knows by name. None of those people or those bodies are Hamas. They're only people. But if you watch October 7th, and I watched a lot of those videos, those people come in and some of them look like an Uber driver. They look like a random dude. They're not wearing a green bandana with a balaclava and military fatigues, but they're going in there and they have a grenade in their hand and they're just a guy. So when that person dies, like that's not a Hamas soldier. Well, to some people it is, but to a lot of people, that's just a guy. So the numbers, they could be way higher, but once again, I hold off until something's corroborated and then I'll operate on that. And right now it's inconclusive. And if you told me it was more than 10,000, like I would believe that.
Yeah, I mean,
but
they
everyone
seem to be
knew
just
that.
bombing the shit out of
Everyone there knew that. Like Hamas knew that when they attacked, they knew that Israel could do that. I think it's the problem is this is the mistake that's happening. It's because you know how you said you hold it to a higher standard.
Mhm.
I do too. I do hold it to a higher standard. I don't, agree with the politics in Israel, even though they're my people. Like I don't, I have I dislike that bin Laden became cool again on TikTok. I don't like the whole martyr aspect. I don't support that. I don't like when people,
You like Ted K's writings. Don't chuckle.
When people diss like the USA or diss Canada, like I like these places. I'm happy that I'm from here, and so it comes from that place. I don't agree with everything Israel does. It's not automatically my people. I obviously don't want this shit happening or existing, but they knew when they did that this could happen, and because they hold Israel to a higher standard too. But that's
Hamas
what we're
knew
all,
when they attacked that it
yeah,
could go
but
this
that's
way.
where we're all making this mistake is we're holding them to a higher standard, and it seems like they're not holding themselves to a higher standard. They are now in terrorist mode also. So you're watching.
I think they're in war-winning mode. So
there's a lot of
war-winning mode, yeah, and it's a thin line. It is. It actually is, because terrorism is also how you win a war. So like they're just having a conversation in terrorism now, and holding them to a higher standard is just a useless thing to do right now. When people were like, ceasefire, write into your senator, tell them to ceasefire. Yeah, I want them to stop bombing. I don't like how, people are hating Jews because it's Israel that, but they're not going to do that until they have all the hostages. And the reason the first time something like this happened, Hamas took one hostage, one IDF soldier, and Israel traded over 1,000 prisoners of war to get him back. People that Israel said was responsible for over 550 deaths, they traded it for that one soldier. So Hamas did it again. Probably thought they would get a lot of hostages traded, a lot of prisoners. They asked for 10,000 at first. And it looks like Israel's like, no, dude, we're playing this game now. We're playing the same game that you do.
Let me jump in.
But we're gonna fucking bomb like crazy. And I'm not saying that's the right thing, but everyone should be like, Hamas, release the hostages, release every single hostage, and then let's have the ceasefire. The support would be overwhelming if Hamas wasn't holding hostages. Why are they holding hostages? You don't need them. There's no leverage. They're still bombing you like crazy. And I wish they'd stop just if you release the hostage, but there's some sort of...
Okay, Harley, you're filibustering at this point.
You've been going for so long.
Kyle said they're in war-winning mode, which is interesting. And we haven't fought a war with that attitude in a long time. Since like Iraq, we've been trying to win over hearts and minds in the 90s. Iraq won. And we haven't really won wars that way. We did win in World War II, America single-handedly, by doing it the way that Israel's doing it
back
now.
To back, just like UGA.
And maybe Kyle's right. Maybe that's how you win wars, and this hearts and minds thing doesn't do it.
We'll stop when they're dead or they surrender. That's when we stop. That's
but
how
the
you
other
win a
side
war.
of it,
Kill them all
every time you kill a kid, you create 4 more terrorists.
True.
You just... Right?
You do that when you stop.
I say I don't know.
No,
I don't know how to win a war.
Oh, yeah, I'm not saying, I never said Israel should do this. I never said, I was just saying it's something that can happen. And,
and it is happening. They're like, the reason the world is like, a lot of people in the world are like, this is fucked up, is because like the collective punishment going on of like, well, Hamas knew that if they did this, we had the capacity to go scorched earth on innocent people who live there. And so now it's like, okay, well, that's fucked. Like lots of these people, the majority had nothing to do with this. And they're still getting displaced and bombed and fucked with.
Yeah, people at the
viewers.
People
like the South in the Civil War. And we laugh about how Atlanta burned. And they won the war and it was over.
Yeah,
but we agree the Yankees were pretty badass, yeah.
Yes,
but picking aside here, like if there was, I guess the cause of October 7th would be to bring attention to the mismatch of what's going of how the Palestinian people are treated.
That's why they.
So when we're here and we get to this conversation, a lot of people will be like, I see people be like, "Free Palestine." or they'll be like, you know, I condemn Israel, or even if they're like, I condemn Hamas. Cool, man. So what up? What's up? What are we doing? Cool. Now we're at this point in the conversation. Cool. We're caught up on who we're picking in the war and who we think should stop bombing, or who should do more attacks, or who should do less. But what are we doing? We still have this problem here with these two people that are literally, the craziest part, they're fucking compatible people. These people are like, I've been to Israel. It's so fucking similar. The food that are consumed, the days of prayer, practically how they pray in many ways. It's so compatible. And they're at the same location when you're in Israel. There are Muslims on one side and there are Israelis, Jews on the other side. And they're praying to the same wall of this temple. Well, like, you know, what is it? Like,
I don't know what the solution is.
There's two options. Was that there's one country. Yeah, but this is like
it's like an eons old ethnic conflict, and it's like, hey, guy from Missouri, what do you think? And it's I think we got enough problems in America. I want nothing to do with them. I care as much about Israel as I care about Ukraine or Palestine or Russia. Like they are not relevant to me in my tons. Not at all.
But you have
Russia's like, hugely relevant to me. Other than watching Ovechkin chase that goal record, I don't give a fuck about Russia.
Wow.
Would you?
That's the main problem with the Israeli thing to me is I'm a little. There's been some propaganda moments where it's like, "What are you trying to put one over on me?" And then on top of that, I'm not seeing like the baddies. I haven't seen any of these Hamas guys we keep talking about. Don't get me wrong. I'm all for getting them and doing whatever it takes to get them, but man, they haven't drug one out yet and been like, yeah, this is Pete. He was one of them.
They don't do that. You guys don't do that either. Like we don't do that in the USA. Like, that's not what you do. Like remember how much they didn't want you to see Saddam Hussein's body? Yeah. Like everyone wanted to see it. They never.
You know what footage we do?
You know why? My logic, because I'm always like questioning shit. They made it normal to not show you the body, so you'll understand forever when they don't show you the body. Because it's better for them to just be like, yeah, we got him, don't worry about it. Because who knows what type of deals some people will make in the future or that have existed already. And they want to be able to have that option. If we get used to being like, here's the body, that's the guy, then we're always going to want to see the body.
I don't mean necessarily when a leader's taken out. I just mean as this war is going on, I hear about them fighting the enemy. Like they're in the streets with machine guns, like infantry and
not GoPros. Where are your GoPros?
And they're wearing GoPros. They're holding the footage. They're not releasing it. And I'm just saying, if they're shooting at bad guys who are shooting at them, where are those bad guys? I would love to see a dead guy in the street with an AK who like, yeah, look at him. He was going to shoot us, but we got him first. Like I haven't seen that. I saw that. I've seen that in every war that we've fought. It's like you know,
I have those. I've seen those.
America does release it, and we release it in black and white from helicopters. And it's cold and calculated, where they're like, all right, clear to shoot.
Roger that. Fucking
Roger that.
Good. That Shane Gillis joke.
Clear. And
the Shane Gillis joke, he's like, the Taliban or whatever, they're out there with flip-flops and a dream. You could tell every time they actually blow up a tank, they're surprised. They're like, oh no! And they're freaking out that it actually worked. Meanwhile, our guys are just cold, black and white, crosshair in the middle of the night from a mile away. Clear. That's a sociopath. Right? I got nothing in common with that guy.
You can't tell by the sound, but he just killed 14 people. 14 people running around, and the infrared light that you went from seeing a human like running across a desert of some sort to just like splatter stains all over the sand.
Yeah, that white thermal splatter.
Yeah, I sent you guys a video because when you said that you never see that, it's true. There's much less of that footage like compared to Ukraine, Russia.
Yeah.
And I would assume it's because like Israel's definitely controlling or stopping the release, whereas in Ukraine it looks like they could go fucking online on TikTok. I've seen them online on TikTok. Yeah, daily videos. But Hamas and IDF aren't really on TikTok as much. But this video that I sent you, I wouldn't click it because it fucking kind of fucked me up.
We can't show this.
No, there's actually this one is visually. There's nothing there. It's only the sound. It's the guy gets shot, and then another guy runs over and like picks up the GoPro or the gun and he takes a couple steps. He gets shot, and then for a minute you hear him, and it's the worst for me. It was the worst combat footage video I've seen, and there's literally nothing on screen. It's just the sound. It's like you just see like the blood stain, but
he's really
labor. It's the labor breathing and the blood like sound, and it's so fucking. It's literally horrific. It's nightmarish.
He's playing it up for clicks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and get invaded and destroyed day after day. We were talking about how hard the Israelis were going like a month ago, and they're still going. They never really. They slowed down for like 3 or 4 days there and swapped hostages.
Reloaded.
They're going so hard. I have seen these groups of Palestinian men. I'm gonna say 100 all on the other like sitting Indian style, feathers not dots, and they're like in a formation, all like tied up and bagged and gagged, and there's like Israeli command all around. It's like what are they gonna do with all those?
They're
guys?
in their underwear or less, right? That's the pictures I've
seen different pictures. I think it's because they're rounding up all the men, and I don't know where the women and children are.
They're dead.
They've been going hard there already for a while.
Under the buildings.
Dick, what do we need to do about this situation over there? What do we got to do? How do we fix this?
Oh, the Middle East?
Do we stay out of it?
Stop giving a shit. As soon as somebody starts talking, you're like, "Oh shit, that's way over there." I don't give a shit.
Dude, that's where I am on Israel for real. Like I've tried to pick a side. Like
not joking.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Partly, like sure, the Palestinians went a little too hard on October 7th. Hot take there. But it's a retaliation for decades of not quite as hard, but also hard treatment towards the Palestinians. Now the Israelis are going too hard, and I'm just like, everybody sucks here. I don't want to be involved.
Yes, we shouldn't be involved. The Middle East has not been good to us. We just keep firing money over there, and it's like, what are we getting out of this? A whole bunch of nothing.
I think we stole a lot of oil, Taylor. I think that all those years
we still buy it. We buy it from Saudi Arabia.
Well, there's a bunch of natural gas under Gaza too that I'm sure the Israeli government.
We need that.
Yeah. Our subsidiary government. I hate the Israeli government. I don't think I hate them as much as the U.S. government. If I had to rank U.S. government, Israeli government, Hamas, I don't know really if I could say.
You have a hard time sorting them.
Yeah, it's tough. So I'm like, man, who's fucked me most recently? I did just have to pay taxes, so I'm gonna have to rank you guys. Hamas, you caused a bunch of really annoying news cycles, but then
you just paid taxes.
The Israeli government comes in and shows like a gay marriage proposal happening on Gaza, like, or Voldemort looking at his phone and going like, "Oh my god, I've never seen." Did you see that?
Wait, did they really?
Israeli fucking Twitter account. If that doesn't radicalize you against Israel, I don't know what would. They're posting like AI of Voldemort looking at his phone, going, "Oh," and the tag like fucking Dracula, and the tagline is, "If you want to see the horrors of Hamas, go to like HamasHorrors.com." And it was a Google website that was already broken when they posted this picture. Look at this shit. The Israeli government's posting this shit. So I don't know how you can support this with a clear conscience. Obviously, I don't support. I mean, what is terrorism exactly, right? Like marketing against a poor country. But look at this. Look at this.
Why don't you all right, explain to me what you don't like about this, because what I see is them just really hammering down how evil Hamas and their behavior was. And for the Israeli point of view, they don't like that, for example, that UN organization that deals with sex crimes and war. They're like, why aren't you talking up about October 7th? Why are why is our crimes not being talked about? Like they feel like they're being ignored, and like their side of the story is that they censored the more hardcore evidence, footage, whatever you want to call it, initially because it was, their citizens being raped and stripped and tortured.
Yeah. That's what Israel's already committed.
Goodness.
6 October.
I mean, if you allow Voldemort, who's next? Oscar the Grouch? They're going to put like
it's time to take out the trash.
But Woody, how many Pearl Harbors did we cast out upon Japan? I mean, hundreds, right?
When it comes to America,
thousands.
I view them through a biased lens. America is only good because they're my team.
Oh, man. What are you fucker? Who's your CIA handler saying shit like that? Like, who the fuck is my team are you on? Does America let you put a high flow shower head in your house? I don't think so.
Missouri does.
Do it yourself. You pull the thingy out.
Yeah.
I do that in hotels. I swear, when I go to a hotel,
I love that.
I swear to God,
It's a service you're performing for everyone else.
There's
who
an
ever stays
adjustable
there.
wrench in my luggage. I swear to God, I unscrew that bitch. I pull it out. I put it back together every fucking time. I swear, I cannot stand that drippy liberal ass shower. That's why they're all so sour. They're dirty.
Yeah,
it's awful. You got a clean
pretty
shower
bad.
once in a while. You'd love America.
I have, like, I don't. I'm like the token liberal on this show. I shower in a car wash every day. I have 4 shower heads going on me. I have 4 exhaust fans in my bathroom, and it can't keep up. I have to turn the radiator on the mirror so that it doesn't fog up because of the huge amount of water.
The mirror radiator. Yeah, we've all been there.
Dude, the mirror radiator is amazing, and it's not that expensive. It was like $200 or something for that mirror.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I don't like the AIs of like movie characters for real life conflicts. It's just there's something about it that like this is weird. Like
I like it.
You're using Voldemort.
You love it.
You're
I
like
fucking
the same
love
way
it.
like the U.S. Marines
Harry
using
Potter
like
fan.
Captain
You
America.
wouldn't like it if it was Star Wars.
Do you remember World War II when Mickey Mouse was getting out the war bonds? When Donald Duck was fucking showing him making
How
artillery
old do you
shells
think
to
I
send the
am? No, I
Hitler?
don't remember World War II.
Well, I'm talking about the cartoons where you're like, oh, I don't like. Are they using Voldemort on modern conflicts? Yeah, like they did in the 40s and the 30s.
Yeah, that was
we've
lame
always
then
done.
too. We're like,
No, it's fucking cool.
Remember to buy your bonds. Like
Those bonds saved the world. That was important.
buy a bond so Jerry can give him hell. Hoo-hoo. Like that's what
No,
they're
you
doing.
get the Jerry's hell.
Give whatever.
Did you guys see the Israeli woman that was trying to get her husband's sperm out of his balls when he was dead?
I saw that and I thought it was made up. Is that real?
No, and then Israel animated it. They made the same account animated this quest that this woman had to extract semen from her husband's balls so she could have another kid with them like they always wanted.
If only she didn't have like a bunch of headaches leading up to this conflict. This could have been taken care of.
It wouldn't go get her husband's dead balls time.
It's not an isolated thing. Like she's not unique in this. They have a program for doing this. I don't know about the case you're talking about, but there's an Israeli like program for like going and getting the sperm out of dead soldiers and getting it to their family. And their sperm bank. No, not their sperm bank. Their skin bank. Do you know about the skin bank?
You told me about the skin bank.
They have like apparently they have the world's largest collection of human skins. When you ask them where they get the skins, they use them for burns from their soldiers. And it's like, where do you get all the skins? And they're like, sources. Many sources. What? Yeah.
Oh wow.
And where are the sources, Kyle?
Palestine.
You can't do those
PKA.
DNA.
But I saw a bunch of polls more recently, and it's like, yeah, you're lying if you say he's not winning.
Is he
He's
like
winning right
as
now.
hated as I imagine he is in LA, Dick? Like persona non grata. Everybody like, oh, you MAGA people, fuck off.
I don't know, man. They're kind of all the whole Israel Palestine thing like split both sides in two. I feel like they're more distracted. I don't hear about Trump a lot anymore.
Interesting.
I'm sure that'll change. I'm sure that'll change at the start of the year.
I feel like
wish
that's
Biden
super
just
temporary.
praised Israel. He should leave it there. Oh, Israel. They have an amazing Israeli defense force. They're more than capable of handling this on their own. Praise them, and don't do shit. That's the approach I would want Biden to take.
That's mostly what we're doing.
Anything that keeps us out of it, I'm good with that.
Like they're dropping white phosphorus bombs on civilians, and they look at the bombs and they're American made.
Really? Okay,
well, that's not a secret. Like, that's
not a secret. I thought that was a big like, hey, don't be dropping white phosphorus on people.
Did Israel agree to not drop phosphorus on people?
They're the ones doing it.
I know. Did they ever agree
Maybe I
not to?
misunderstood you what you're getting.
Yeah.
Okay,
they're doing it. Did they ever say they wouldn't? They're not like my bad. They're like,
isn't it like Geneva Convention stuff, like where everybody's supposed to be on the same page? I don't fucking know. I don't know what Israel signed.
It's easy to win debates if you just ask me things I don't know.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is like nobody cares anywhere about the phosphorus thing. It seems to be effective. You know, see if you could burn them alive, that'd be good. That works real well. Russia. I saw Russians shooting white phosphorus too. You can see it. And so
we were outraged over Russia doing it.
Well, yeah, I didn't like that. I like Ukraine. They're the good guys, Woody.
I mean, when you're right, you're right.
White hats and black cats. It's that simple.
Wait, what's
Israel ratified the Geneva Conventions on July 6, 1951.
Well,
right. Well there you go.
Did the current Israelis sign it though? No. They signed it in 1951. So.
I think BB plays by his own rules over there.
I think those were actually
he wants.
Drops 5,000-pound bombs on civilians.
Hang on, Harley's tuning in. Yep, those were illumination flares.
There was
illumination flares. Thank you, Harley.
Wildly successful illumination is what they achieved.
It stayed lit for 3 days.
Yeah, you see some wild shit over there. Where like I thought that was like a Palestine propaganda thing for a bit, where they're bombing the routes that they're telling us to leave by, and I was like, I don't know about that, but apparently that's true. I was like, yeah, apparently they've been firing off into those areas. Not
hard to find a good guy in that.
A lot of not chill stuff going on in that region of the world.
Blew up a refugee camp. Well, there was terrorists in it. Okay, well then why did you keep blowing it up when they're dead? Well, because then everyone else became a terrorist because we were blowing it up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
all like of Israel's run by Kramer in my mind.
I literally go back.
You're not going to believe it.
I literally go back and forth depending on what channel I'm watching. They could sway me back and forth on this one, which is usually a good indicator that there's probably not exactly a good guy anymore. There was at one point, I'm sure, there was that first guy who was like, why? Who even are you? But like that's so long ago that like it doesn't matter.
Oh, hello,
anymore.
my friend. You're coming to live here also? Surely you don't want my house. Wrong, bucko. Swing and a miss on that assessment, sir.
I mean, that might have happened. But at this point, like it's just mayhem over there. And I talked earlier about how it looked when I saw like hundreds of those Palestinian men on like tied up on the ground, like Abu Ghraib style. It was like, shit, where are they taking them? I hope it's a nice place.
Yeah,
hope it's a nice place.
We have very nice farm for you. It is
I'm sure they
beautiful.
Stripped these men down naked, hog-tied them, put them on the back of large trucks, and took them to a luxury resort.
Mm-hmm. They're putting them up in a Ramada in Tel Aviv until they can work out where to send them.
Sandals.
Yeah.
I'm a little afraid they're taking them somewhere to dig a hole.
Then that could be the case. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't want to see that. I wouldn't want them to use American shovels to dig the holes. I'll say that.
There are American shovels? I thought they were all made in China.
We don't make anything.
Shovel factory?
All we make is bombs.
We make the worst shovels on earth now, probably.
We make the best.
We blow you up a hole, but you can't dig anything with our stuff with it.
Yeah, we don't make. We make war stuff, and other than that, what do we make? Nothing.
Make money.
Make money. Make money. What do you make, Frank? We make money. What do we?
I think the war stuff supports everything else, though, right? It's the one. It's the Second Amendment allows you to have the First Amendment, and I think economically as well. And also, I know this stuff that's going on with the Houthis. Apparently, that really doesn't bother the Israelis. What it bothers is maybe a few Israeli oligarchs who own shipping companies. They're like, oh no, but.
They're not just going after Israeli ships. They're going after anybody who shows up in there.
Exactly. And that's why it's a problem for Europe and China, because that's where that's the trade between Europe and China goes through.
It's a hugely important shipping lane.
Yeah, for China.
I think the Likud party has been pretty.
I like seeing Europe do poorly
outspoken about the Houthis, right? Like it's not just Israeli bureaucrats. Like it's the main party in power. Netanyahu's party.
Well,
a problem with it.
Well, the Houthis are.
China spoke out against the Houthis. Nobody likes the Houthis.
Well, I mean, Iran likes
the Houthis in Iran. They're like this, but
Hamas,
North Korea loves them.
I feel like Hamas very openly at this point acknowledged that they, in part, did what they did on October 7th because they were trying to draw in outside forces and turn it into a larger regional Hezbollah and more Iranian proxies.
Hezbollah whoever runs Hezbollah, that's a smart cookie, as Trump would say, because he didn't do shit. You know all his like well, okay, I'm sure they finance them and they influence them, but whoever the guy who flies that Hezbollah flag, not an Iranian flag, that guy who's in charge of it, decided not to get involved.
There was some fighting in the north, like southern Lebanon and northern Israel, but like they certainly didn't. The Hamas was not successful ultimately in turning it into something much bigger. I guess the idea is that for the Abrahamic Accords and the normalization of between Saudi Arabia and Israel, Hamas felt like, okay, we need to pop the fuck off because it's kind of now or never.
Yep.
But it fucking sucks because now they're just so much further away from a Palestinian state. And it's not like the Palestinian people in Gaza have a say in terms of like military operations.
Yeah. They're just getting destroyed every single day.
Somebody challenged me the other day to solve that thing. It took me 15 minutes. Solve the whole fucking thing.
Really?
You gotta have it. So a two-state solution is going to be non-negotiable. But here's the thing. Here's what will make everybody happy. You know that maybe it's off the coast of the UK. They call it Sealand or something. It's like the world's smallest country. They just got a little platform out there.
Sure.
That's where the Palestinians go. And look, here's the thing. We, the United States, just sent a boat out of Virginia, and they're heading to, you would guess it, Israeli waters. They're going to build them a pier so that we can more readily give them things.
I think we should. I think it should be left up to chance entirely.
Build a couple of oil rig platforms out there. Set them up with some tents.
When you say leave it up to chance, if like the current like pressure that the Biden administration and other international forces are putting on Israel is to not permanently occupy Gaza. So like if Trump wins in 2024, for example, it's pretty obvious that he's going to give Netanyahu like the full green light just to annex Gaza. And then it's like, I don't know, maybe Egypt is just forced to take in refugees. Like, I don't know how that's going to...
They won't.
No, it would be Europe that would be forced to take them, or us probably, right? Because Egypt has already stated they're not going to take any.
No, send them to fight in Ukraine. That's how
I was going to say,
for everyone.
Coin flip, then all the head Jews and the head Palestinians have to be like, whatever the result of this is, we will abide. Loser of the coin flip, their whole group goes to Madagascar.
It has to be a two-state solution, but Netanyahu has to be ousted democratically, and Hamas, they can't remain in power. That's just not tenable, I don't think. Do you guys think like, I don't know, do you guys think it's obviously a really complicated issue, but like, do you think that some level of force is justified in the pursuit of like disarming Hamas?
I mean, I think that I think the amount of force that Israel is showing is absurd, and that they are waging a destructive campaign against the Palestinian people right now. And that's clear by the video evidence. It's absurd. So bigot. Bigot, Nazi,
hate monger.
Hate monger. I don't think that we're gonna solve an ethnic conflict 1,000 years old, and so I don't want to be involved with Israel whatsoever or with Palestine. It's not our business. It doesn't help us to be involved. It makes us global foes the world over. It's negative. It costs $1 billion, and it's
why 9/11 happened.
Taylor's pretty consistently isolationist, whereas I prefer the hypocrite route and choose battle by battle.
Yeah, I said the same thing about Ukraine and Russia. I don't care what the Ukrainians and Russians
because I'm the guy that likes the United States to have its fingers in all the pies. When I see those Pacific fleets start sailing out, spreading out, taking control of entire regions. When I watch those YouTube videos about how much firepower like this boat or that boat has, I like that shit. I like that the world runs on dollars, and people can pretend like they're going to switch to something else all they want. They won't.
Well, a lot of people call that like American imperialism. Like I don't know if you guys have ever seen like that bullshit.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen the bullshit map?
We should take Mexico.
I haven't seen the bullshit map.
There's a bullshit map that goes around online where it's like an American flag where like every American military bases in the world, except it's like clearly bullshit because they have like bases in Iran and stuff. It's like, wait, what the fuck? But
Those are
a lot
really
like, and I
They don't know about those.
I used to look at it. The same way for a really long time. But the only country I think that doesn't want American bases in their country is Cuba. I think, and then everybody else, like we work closely with the Somalian government to like help them deal with their problem with terrorism, and like there's no country that like is pissed that America has a military base like in their backyard.
Does Haiti have any? They could use a few.
I mean, Russia doesn't like it.
They keep asking, but we keep saying no.
You're not blaming NATO for the Russian invasion, are you?
No, I was saying that's why Russia justified it. Is they're saying that Putin said we don't want military bases in our border in Ukraine, and then we're like, we're going to do it. And
well, they also
was like, well, fuck
they're
you.
liberating Ukraine from the Nazis that run them.
Yeah, I'm not defending Russia.
Yeah.
I'm saying like that's their rationalization for it. Like Putin did say years ago, like I'm going to do something if you try and do this.
My goal was to discredit Russia because I think the reality is what the reality is and what they say are completely unrelated. The real reason they took Ukraine is they wanted the land, they wanted the breadbasket, they wanted the warm water.
The same thing with Star Wars. That's the U.S. and Vietnam. That's the U.S. is the evil empire, and Luke Skywalker and the boys, they're the Vietnamese, and maybe the fucking Buddhist monk burned himself alive as the Jedi. I don't know, but that's what was going on then.
Well, he didn't self-immolate in protest of the war. Did you know that? He was protesting actually something else at the time. He was
protesting that he got caught releasing documents, and he was like, while I burn myself to avoid these document charges, I think I'll yell Free Palestine.
Oh, that guy. Wait, he was...
No, he's talking about
the guy who self-immolated.
The other guy, the guy from 60.
Well, I was originally talking about Buddhist monks in Vietnam, but there was that guy, that Air Force guy who self-immolated like a week or two ago.
And they were celebrating him. Like there were like this like bunch of like going back to TikTok, a bunch of like TikTok Zoomers were like lionizing this guy. And there was this whole thing where H3 was he was saying like I don't think it's good to glamorize, which I think is the correct take. I didn't
even think of it from the suicide thing because it's a different kind of suicide. And like I think when you're looking for a way out or whatever, you really need to like explore some other fucking options. It's an awful thing. However, suicide for an ideal is a different thing.
Dude, though, when you look through his old Reddit posts, this dude was fully radicalized, like full.
No shit.
Yeah, he burned himself alive.
There's a hot take.
Yeah, he was radical. I would say I'm going to go so far as to say too radical.
I got my hot take joke. All right.
Maybe it's a bit redundant.
Fire tonight.
But he was he was just full on. Like, I guess it's just there's a lot of people where their whole political philosophy is centered on America bad, and then everything springs from that, and so you just become fully indoctrinated.
Was a hoax, Hutch?
What's up?
The Reddit thing is. Did you read shortly following?
No. So there was one specific post that was doctored, but you can't like you can go to like archived. They deleted his account, so you can't go to Reddit itself to see it. But there's an archived version of his logs, and you can just read everything that he was typing, and it was just it was apparent that he was just fully I think he tacitly endorsed October 7th, for example.
Oh, a lot of people
did. I did see that.
Yeah, a lot of people like just straight up outwardly did it on Twitter. It was funny to see like random rappers get in trouble. Rappers politics is one of my new favorite things because it's a lot more right wing and radical than you'd ever think. Like I feel it's
right wing.
Lady rappers are super radical. They're celebrating October 7th and stuff like that. The male rappers, a lot of those dudes are right wing. A lot of those guys are Trump guys.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of like there's obviously a lot of like free Palestine stuff with like younger artists right now.
Yeah.
I think like it's so tough because it's like obviously I think most people, I would assume all of you guys believe that the Palestinians deserve their own state and autonomy and dignity and all that, but I don't, when I get up to the line of like Hamas good, that's where I'm like, no, I'm not with you on that one.
Well, that's absurd.
I mean, we've got so much land in the Midwest. I was thinking, Taylor, that we could get all them Palestinians and just give them like Wyoming Like we're not doing shit up there. North
Dakota. Get to the flyover states.
It is not.
We even use those.
We'll flip a coin. We'll give them one of the Dakotas. Dude, problem? Do you know what a resource the Palestinian people could be? Look, now you don't realize this, Taylor, but first world nations are clamoring to get first pick at the Palestinian people. There's a lottery system right now, and a lucky few First Nations are going to get, a
lucky few.
Taylor, it's said that if you take all the Hamas and put them in St. Louis, that the murder rate will go down.
I don't know. We could try it. Did
you guys see that this conflict and the discourse around it ended the H3 Hassan?
I really don't know anything about those guys.
You're not plugged into them at all.
Not
trying to stay away from that sort of thing.
What happened? Were they friends and now they're not, or is the
well?
Opposite,
they did a podcast together for I want to say like 2 years. It's called The Leftovers, and it was a really interesting cultural kind of like online cultural moment to watch that friendship sort of disintegrate over time, because it started to fray during like a conversation about like capitalism versus communism stuff. And what had happened was like H3 had, whether intentionally or unintentionally, cultivated through his partnership with Hassan, cultivated like a really left-wing audience, like a hammer and sickle, like we need to like destroy capital kind of like audience. And they started to like have this like disagreement where Ethan was like willing to say, there's plenty of flaws with capitalism. There's a lot of gaps. There's a lot of poverty, but I'm just not with you with the whole like Chinese kind of stuff, like or like full on hammer and sickle stuff. And then like a few months later, it culminated this fracture of their friendship with the Palestinian Israeli conflict, because Ethan is a dual citizen. Like he has citizenship in Israel. He has family in Israel.
His
and so
girl is Israeli, right? Also as dual. Yeah.
And so a lot of Ethan's audience were, I mean, some of them were just full on like actually celebrating October 7th, and so like Ethan was he was like saying like, look, I'm willing to tell you like what the Israelis have been doing to Palestinians for decades is wrong, and fuck Netanyahu and fuck the Likud party and fuck, the Israeli Palestinian, the treatment of Palestinians, but Hamas, like what they did is fucking not good. And then like a bunch of the audience were calling him like a racist, genocidal, apartheid supporter. And dude,
they call us that all the time. They don't mean it.
That just means hello in online talk.
Yeah, that's just howdy.
That's how they think.
It was an interesting kind of like, it was an interesting moment because it's just like,
for him to realize that's that's pretty awkward.
So there was a big schism in both of their audiences.
They don't do the podcast anymore, and it was just too much. Like there was like
free and open discussion had a limit for them. Yeah,
and that was a pretty big podcast. So to like walk away from that was like pretty significant.
You think the audience divided them mostly?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was the conflict and the audience. There's this thing called audience capture. Are you guys familiar with the concept of audience capture? It's like, so if you're like an influencer person and you cover politics or you cover cultural stuff, and you end up cultivating an audience over time, like you guys have cultivated kind of like a slightly more right-wing audience, I would say. Right. And, but like what happens with a lot of creators is they start to notice like, oh, well, I'll get, you either consciously or unconsciously know, like I'm going to get more engagement if I frame certain things this way or that way. And so there ends up being this sort of like extremism pipeline that happens, and then it gets to a point where the creator, they're not really being authentic with their thoughts. They're relaying what they think their audience is going to want to hear. So
Zach phrased it really well. Let me read it because it's interesting. Audience capture is a self-reinforcing feedback loop that involves telling one's audience what they want to hear and getting rewarded for it.
And then they have to go further and further. So they're like, oh, when I'm talking about how awesome Stalin was, I get lots of likes and comments.
Well, see, it's people easy to calling get around that comrade. Though. We just always, one of us has to disagree so that we're always on both sides. We literally are. It's very rarely that all three of us are like full. And
if we all agree, someone will jump on the other side.
Yeah, and then there'll be, if we all agree, there's at least a dissenting opinion from somebody. They're like, look, all right, I'll co-sign that. Yeah, but here's the thing about that. You need to have a little. You need disagreement.
Yeah, it's not so interesting to listen.
But here's where I think our show does it a lot in like the meanness, right? So this is a show where we laugh at people fighting cars and think it's hilarious that mismatch. And then the audience turns that same spirit on us, and it's like, well, don't be surprised, fucknard.
Yeah, if we got hit in a parking lot, they would have no sympathy.
There's all kinds of interesting like realignments going on politically in the cultures, because like, so even though Republicans have seen not insignificant gains with Hispanic and Black voters, there's been an interesting realignment of women in the suburbs towards the Democratic Party, and that started even before Dobbs, but now it's like more significant now. So even though they've
talk about the
gains,
Palestinian issue,
What's about the winning position, Kyle? You're Biden right now.
Yes.
If I'm
Too
Biden,
late.
I have no idea what to do. I can't please
lost.
everybody.
It's a no-win situation. Absolutely no-win situation.
What's the closest to a win you can manage? Kyle's good at this.
He's out there waist deep in the fucking bog right now. He already stepped in it, so to speak, but with his initial sort of inaction and then that sort of back and forth nonsense.
Well, you say inaction, but his administration were directly involved in negotiations for 2 previous ceasefires. So they've been very active with...
All I see is buildings and rubble and bodies and dead babies. And so if you tell me there was a ceasefire one day, they're like, oh, was that when they found the bodies, when they had the ceasefire? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not hearing it. I'm hearing dead babies.
Those fires are for making TikTok videos.
What I see is Biden who can't keep his dog on a leash. That's what I see. I see Biden... Okay. I see, and not only that, he's like patting him on the back a little.
He's not America's dog, though. He's not. He's not.
He should be, though.
Well,
he should be.
They, like we do give them a substantial amount of money each. Well, we give them $3.5 billion each year, but that represents about 17% of their military budget. If we stopped all weapons transfers and financial aid tomorrow, they would still be going out.
No, they ran out of ammo.
Then let's do it.
They would forge. You don't think that a country like China or Russia is going to try to step in immediately to fill that void? Like, for sure. So like, you can't, like, there's this idea that Biden can just literally force Israel to do whatever he wants them to do. And I don't think that's true at all.
I think he certainly can, because I think that Biden has, he's like, all right, well, I can do this with Saudi Arabia, or I can say this to Iran. We can change our stance on our defensive packs. We could. You don't get the new Ares missile system. We're not going to bring our boats and provide you anti-air cover from all those drones that are coming from the Houthis. You know how many drones we shot down with our $13 billion fleet that we rolled up for him?
Are you talking about the Iron Dome right now?
No, I'm talking about the United States sent a fucking aircraft carrier fleet over there and parked there to a carrier group and parked there and shot drones down for weeks, and they're still shooting them down. Well, I think they should be our dog, because we give them tons of money. Look, I'm those pro-Israel one here.
We get fucking nothing.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
We get hated by the world and embroiled in conflicts that we shouldn't be in.
Did you say we give them nothing?
No, we get nothing.
No, we have
from it. Yeah.
So first thing, they share that they're an intelligence partner with us, so they share their intelligence with us, which is huge. That's like not why did you do that, Woody?
Is it worth like being the largest recipient?
I want something a little more concrete. Like I watched a YouTube video that was explaining that America exports security, and by that I mean like we spend a lot on our own military, and everyone in NATO knows that we'll protect them if shit goes wrong, and then in exchange we get really hard to define, hard to monetize, hard to understand goodwill. I don't know what kind of trading that gets us, how much better Apple and Cisco and GE are doing because of this security export, but it seems like not a lot, that it's like an IOU that we get in exchange. So when I hear that they're a security or an intelligence partner,
that's just one aspect, though. I mean,
I place very little value. Like, their intelligence is not what the legends say it is. October 7th proves that. So, like, I don't know. If Israel wasn't our intelligence partner, would there be any difference at all?
They had intelligence of October 7th. The problem is they were stretched too thin. They had diverted a lot of their troops over to the West Bank, and there was ineptitude when they were like reading the intelligence. And so it was like America. We had a heads up that September 11th was going to happen, and we had a similar kind of like lapse in intelligence where they just ignored the threat and it happened. And then some people think that Bush did 9/11, but it's not like America is helping this country or that country because we're this fucking altruistic pro-liberal democracy force. We don't do these things out of the goodness of our hearts. We do it because it benefits the national interest.
As much as I seek it out, though, I can't find where we're getting a good deal. Or how this works out for us. We spend
now you're sounding like Taylor. Are you
millions?
Yeah, the American people do not benefit from our relationship.
I have this
with
strong
Israel.
sense of right and wrong that dictates my foreign policy. And that's why I'm pro-Ukraine, right? The Russians took over a country that didn't belong to them. They're raping the women. They're stealing the children, if that's true. But they definitely don't belong in Ukraine, right? I'm very suspicious of all the propaganda. I watch both sides and I don't know. Anyway, but I'm still pro-Ukraine, even though it doesn't benefit America, because I'm pro good guys, right and wrong, etc. In Israel versus Hamas, it's not as clear to me. I'd rather just let two assholes fight each other and stay away.
Well, I don't think we get anything beneficial to actual Americans here, like raising families and working jobs by supporting Ukraine or Israel in these insane ways. It's not beneficial. It's not helpful to us. It makes us enemies all over the world, particularly in the instance of Israel currently. Like it's not a net benefit for us. And I agree with Woody in that this ethereal promise of intelligence that we probably have a better version of already is not sufficient to be like, oh, well then, give them write a check for the house. American taxpayer money straight over.
I think you guys are underselling the importance of like sharing intelligence with our like global.
Are you doubting
partners?
my expertise in Israeli intelligence?
Wow. Like what do we really like? What have we concretely gotten from them that would make it worthy that they've been the largest recipient of foreign aid for the past 80 years?
Well, look at the region of the world, and then look at like who can we possibly. I mean, it's in America's interest to have international partnerships all over the world. To benefit our economic structure, to maintain stability, to maintain liberal democracy in countries all over the world. Like it's not just because we do it because we care. It's because it serves our interests. And when you look at that region, like like we have this kind of like tense friendship with Saudi Arabia now, maybe, but who else are we going to be partnering up with? Iraq, Iran, like Yemen, like Oman, like and so like just geographically. They're a very important foothold for American interests in that region. I'm not saying I just want to clarify. I'm telling you what I think like a foreign policy expert would say. I don't necessarily disagree that we're too entrenched in certain conflicts. I'm just saying that
I wonder if Israel will be our friend a little cheaper, right? Taylor said they're the largest beneficiary of our foreign aid over the last so many years. I don't know. Is that true? Is that
by
right?
a lot? Yeah.
Okay.
Number two is Egypt, and the reason for that is we basically paid off Egypt to normalize relations with Israel, so it's almost tangentially related to that.
Cumulatively, it's been I can't say that word. It's been over a little over $200 billion that we've given them over the last several decades of.
Are you telling me Israel wouldn't be my friend for 50 billion? Like, did it have to be 200 billion? Did it have to be that outrageous? What about 10 billion? What if it was just some smaller number? I feel like we're getting a little bit hoodwinked on this terrible deal.
Yep.
Well, a lot of it.
They are good businessmen.
A lot of it is like boomer. When you talk to boomers, your average boomer, they are gonna like fiercely defend Israel because they remember Israel in the context of like fleeing the Holocaust and for a lot of them,
it's worse than that.
Are you talking about the evangelicals? For a lot of them, it's about prophecy. For a lot of them, it's about biblical script.
You know what? The magnet on my grandma's refrigerator said, "It said my God's a Jewish carpenter." All right. They fucking mean that shit. They're ready. Those old folks, you talk to a 70-year-old Southern Baptist, he's ready to go over there and dig through that rubble so we can finish somebody off. Like, they love Israel. Okay. And they're
literally waiting for the end of times. And that's a not insignificant amount of Americans where they support Israel for that explicit reason. But for a lot of old people, like it's like a cultural, like, it's just, they're a product of the times in Israel. That was like a big fucking deal in 1948 when the United Nations partitioned that land. It was seen as like, it's huge for them.
When did they bomb our ship? Was that 64?
Are you talking about the Gulf of Tonkin right now?
No, that's
the
Vietnam false flag. I'm talking about when the Israelis attacked that United States naval vessel and like bombed it.
The USS
like,
Liberty.
Yeah. Well, was that 64?
50s or 60s.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Whoops.
67.
67.
Yeah.
It's also like an interesting where like Dresden, for example. When we bombed Dresden, we killed, I think, 50,000 people in 2 nights of bombing. The firebombing of Tokyo before Hiroshima, we killed 80,000 Japanese in 1 night of bombing. And so I think what's interesting now is like, if we would have had cell phones back then, you know, what would the public's response have been? Because we were cheering that on here domestically.
Dude, in my lifetime, I've watched war coverage get so much more real and accurate. Now, there's always been propaganda, and there still is.
More gruesome.
But the first invasion of Iraq was the first one where we had like real-time satellites, right? People weren't using film and mailing the film back to America to be edited and approved and put on television. Instead, it was like a real-time conversation with this weird delay, you know, between anchors at CNN and Geraldo Rivera in the sand. And since then, it's gotten way better. Now every freaking soldier has a GoPro on his head. We're walking through the trenches, showing his highlights on TikTok.
Yeah,
and
I'm glad you mentioned Geraldo. He's the one who gave away like troop positions or movements or something to fucking CNN while they were happening. He got in a lot of trouble for that, or at least a lot of like public trouble. I don't know if I'm sure someone went and talked to him.
They really got fucked up in Desert Storm though, so I mean, I don't know if it made a difference.
That was a big W. That was a big W for the home team.
That was a fast W.
Man,
that was actual mission accomplished in 30 days.
That's one of the reasons George W. Bush gets you know, kind of 2 thumbs down for me on that regard in particular, because for those of us who have ever played like, you know, Dark Tide, Vermintide, once you play a map and you got it down, you can go back and knock that one out easier and easier every time. Sure. We had just done that shit, and it wouldn't be so bad. It's his dad. It's literally his dad. We say we're not I like the American way. No monarchies or dictatorships here. So okay, so then that guy's
just a vague connection of nepotism and backhand deals.
So a few years later, that man's father became leader of the world for 8 years. But then after that, the other guy's wife tried and almost made it. And it's like, I don't know. It seems like we've got just a little monarchy of our own making. And like, I love that Kennedy's name still means something. I have to hear about his aunts and uncles and cousins and nephews and shit.
True.
Like they've got that magic touch of like, what? You're going to take us to the moon? You're gonna start laying that accent on us?
Like Biden, you know, breaks the royalty. I guess Obama broke the royalty trend, right? He wasn't attached to anyone. He just made it through good grades. Well, fuck, Clinton did too.
And charisma. He was, you know, Obama was like the best orator.
Yeah, good grades.
His charisma doesn't work on
anybody gets to the presidency through good grades.
Well, yeah, he was a Rhodes Scholar. He was fucking smart as fuck.
Nobel Peace Prize winner.
Yeah,
Bill Clinton was a Rhodes Scholar, and it was a big part of how he got to where he was.
How many Rhodes Scholars are there a year? I'm genuinely asking. By the way, you were right earlier. We sell like 300,000 Fords to China a year.
Yeah, I thought it was more than you said, but
a lot of cars.
It's more than 2. You were fact checked wrong.
Yeah. I just couldn't imagine that. I thought there'd be tariffs. One, I choose to believe, but I noticed that number skyrocketed around Trump's presidency. I think maybe he made some deals. No, I just made that up.
No, I did want to say, like, seriously though, what do you think? What do you think the best case scenario for Biden to handle Israel? Because no matter what, fucking 30 to 40% of people are going to be heated. Is my take.
I honestly, I hate to say it, but if you go back in time, what if he immediately sent a force in to lock things down and keep both sides at bay?
Send American troops into Gaza?
Yeah.
No,
that's a bad move.
Americans don't have an appetite for war. We're not,
and to stop Israel from getting their revenge, like to me, what I really want to happen,
you make everybody mad that way.
Israel kind of wins, but not like this, right? How many people have they killed? 30,000? Is that a good number?
Roughly.
That's way a low estimate. Yeah.
Okay.
I like 30.
They lost 1,100, right? I'm going to give them 2,500. 2,500, right? Send a message. You mess with me, I take 2 for every one. And call it good. 30 for everyone? This feels
the goal of war has never been proportionality, though. So, like, I feel like this is a really weak argument. Like
proportionality for proportionality.
Okay,
I suggested you double up.
Compound for the proportionality.
But like when America entered World War II, we didn't go in there thinking like, okay, we're gonna kill 50,000 Germans. It was like the goal was we need to stop the Nazis and the Japanese from taking over Europe and Asia.
Absolutely.
And when it comes to the objective in Gaza, it's eliminate Hamas.
Right. There's a problem with every idea, but I don't know if our goal is total war, right? Which is what you sort of suggested. Our goal is peace. So how do we teach them a lesson and then have peace afterwards?
Hamas have been wholly dedicated to the proposition of killing or expelling every Jew from the river to the sea, Greater Israel. They envision ruling over Greater Israel through Islamic law. They are not. People don't like hearing this. People want to hear like permanent ceasefire. I don't know what that means.
Yes,
no, I don't. I really don't. Like
it means a ceasefire that doesn't end.
A ceasefire is by definition a temporary pause in fighting, and then you can springboard off of a ceasefire to negotiate a lasting peace. I don't know how you negotiate a lasting peace with a group whose explicit goal is the destruction of your country. That's where it gets kind of dodgy. And I'm not saying I'm comfortable with the level of force that's been used in Gaza. That's not what I mean. And especially, and like blocking humanitarian aid is abhorrent, obviously.
I mean,
yeah.
Depends what they're trying to do. We don't know what their goals are. They may be trying to exterminate the people, in which case, it's going pretty well. They clearly want to get them out of there. Aren't they about to invade a different region? Is it called Rafah or something?
It's in southern Gaza, yeah.
Yeah, I think they're going to push them all out. I think the way they're bombing that place, it's not the kind of bombing you do where people move back.
Yeah,
right?
it's like scorched earth.
So which companies are going to be coming in there to fix things? I know which companies. We all do. Like it'll be Israeli companies who come to rebuild that place because that is going to be Israeli territory. So they're not going to abandon it.
What Netanyahu said his goal was, and it's a joke. It's just as much of a joke as like Hamas's idea of like permanent peace. But Netanyahu has said that his goal is the destruction of Hamas first and foremost, which he says we're only like 6 weeks away. But eventually after that, he says they're going to establish basically a permanent military presence in Gaza, and they're going to install a puppet government, which for obvious reasons is just not going to work. Obviously,
I think it's more likely Zelensky gets some of his land back than the people in Gaza do. You know what I mean?
Well, that's why it's important to have like international pressure on Netanyahu to not like the only solution for like lasting peace would be a 2-state solution. It can't be a 1-state solution. That's just off the table. Like it has to be a 2-state.
I mean, we're the international pressure though, and all of our politicians are bitch made around Netanyahu.
Well, there is pressure from American politicians, including Biden, to pursue a 2-state solution. That is quote a permanent ceasefire. Would be like Palestinians have their own state, and it's like
now he knows what a permanent ceasefire is. Now he's defining it. See,
they're like even like
dishonesty. Like what the people that say like Biden should force a permanent ceasefire. I don't know what that means. Like if Hamas are going to continue rocket fire into Israeli civilian like centers, because that's what they do. They fire thousands of rockets. They have their Iron Dome and they have really good defenses, but they're constantly under rocket attack from Hamas. Or if they continue to plan October 7 attacks, how is that? That's not a permanent ceasefire.
Dude, the simplest solution is we do not belong in this eon-old ethnic conflict. Like what? Like there's nothing beneficial for American people, normal American people over there for us. It just embroils us in nonsense and costs us money.
Taylor just made me think of something. I was trying to figure out, I was even asking Kyle, hey, what is the political win on this? I think if we followed Taylor, and I guess mine, non-interventionist strategy, and you get a lot of negative press for a couple of weeks, then it would blow over like it was Afghanistan. No one's talking about Afghanistan as an election issue right now. Oh, was it a bad withdrawal? Yeah, it was. It was several years ago, and no one gives a fuck today.
Mm-hmm. But a lot of the biggest like donors to people like Trump, Biden, whoever, like they have like a vested interest. Like Sheldon Adelson, he like funded the whole Republican Party, and he's like that's one of like Israel's like his big issue, and so they're not going to go against their big funders.
Well, they're also like very pro-Zionism too. So like they're they don't really need poking and prodding. Like Biden himself is he's like a self-described like proud Zionist, which is kind of like an outdated term, but like, yeah, I mean, I feel like there's if you do nothing, if you don't put any pressure on Netanyahu, if you don't put any pressure on Israel, then for sure they're just going to they're going to try to just drive them out of that region together. And there's no.
I saw an Israeli rap video today. It was like a lady Israeli rapper, and and she's talking about like blowing up Palestinian houses. She's like, "I'll blow up your house for free." That was one of the rap lyrics. I'm sure it rhymes in her language. In Israeli. She was being real mean about it. Yeah, it was
all that propaganda is not helping them. Like them doing like fun selfies in Palestinians' homes and stuff. It's just it's like
I think it plays back home though.
It does, and right now, like the overwhelming majority of Israelis support the war effort in Gaza right now. But as far as the rest of the world,
the only winning move is not to play in issues like this. And this is there. It's losses around the board. Who knows if it's even possible to not play, given how embroiled our politicians are? You know, being funded by people who have vested interests in different countries. But like, it's not good for us as people. Us
better stated, I think the best move is not to play because you're still going to lose. You're going to lose Sheldon Adelson, for example. But it is probably the best move.
For American people, it's the best move. For a politician trying to get elected, they're going to do the behest of whatever the pet project of their biggest donors are.
That's why you need managed democracy. You vote, but then an algorithm interprets your vote and the outcomes that you would like. And then it throws that away.
Now we're getting,
it does what it's told.
No, we can
Zuckerberg, we trust.
No, let's go back to Kings.
I'm okay with Kings. Which family?
I think a slight majority of Americans still support aid to Israel right now. So it's not like so cut and dry. Obviously, there's a huge chunk, especially of like young Democratic voters that are obviously like very much against this war or against this against aid. So I don't know, like what Biden is currently doing. We're like now, I guess he's like leaking to the press that he's considering conditioning aid on certain things, which I think would be a step in the right direction. But I don't know if he can ever get back the.
Yeah, they're not going to condition.
He needs to change the topic.
Pissed, bro.
I don't know how to change the topic, how to get people talking about what you want. But if this was about Dobbs and this was about Trump's rape cases and other criminal cases, then that helps Biden. For this to be about Israel is not the win that he needs.
It's just like the Israel thing is the biggest thing happening in the world right now.
Trump
and so like everything is gonna Trump like
he will say he does. In day one, he'll fix it. He has a plan. I'm not telling you, but I'll fix it in one day.
Like I don't understand
because then you wouldn't hire me.
Like I don't think it's going to hurt Biden that much in the long run if he ends up running like the whole Israel thing, because it's like Trump is just as pro-Israel as Biden. Probably more so if possible, like or at least the same amount. Like so it doesn't play.
He personally beefs with Netanyahu. Like him and Netanyahu they're no longer best pals. But Trump was asked recently, "What would you do in Israel?" And he just simply said, "Well, they need to finish the job." Like he would not be pushing for humanitarian aid. He would just tell Netanyahu, like, Gaza is yours. We're not going to even rhetorically oppose you for doing that. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, got to get out of there.
Yeah, I think that the big problem is like, especially if they're in the Rust Belt, you have a lot of Arab voters and Muslim voters. We've got friends who are up there in Detroit who are Muslims, who are immigrants.
Minnesota too,
and they do not. I asked my buddy, I was like, "What does your dad think? What do your uncles think?" And I was like, "Oh, they don't like Biden. They hate him."
That was a good
like
fish.
Trump anymore.
There's a lot. If there's one thing that young left-leaning voters or potential voters are really good at doing, it's not distinguishing any difference between the parties. Like Republicans, I think, they get energized and they have some elections where they don't show up as much, but like they understand. I think like I actually kind of respect if you're a Republican who doesn't like Trump, you might even think he's like somewhat of a threat to democracy, but you're just not going to vote for Biden. We're talking about people that have like specific policies in mind and they don't want, what they look at when they say the Democrats, they just find it totally unacceptable. And with young people, something like the Israel stuff happens and they just and there's so much fucking TikTok propaganda and so then this narrative gets constructed where it's like that, two sides of the same coin. Biden is basically no different from Trump, but when you look at the policies, they're just like you said, Taylor, totally different policies, like completely different policies. There are caverns and universes between the parties, but young people just get convinced like it's all the fucking man, bro. It's all the war machine and the
only thing they're seeing on their feed, and they see that people who say what they're saying are getting a lot of positive feedback on it.
Which is actually crazy is while we were talking here, so none of this is like it's all happening literally right now because we're talking about Israel apparently went and bombed 3 places in Iran, which are like the locations of their top nuclear research facilities.
Oh,
yeah,
that's a risky place to bomb, right?
World War III is like that's like if World War III is back on the menu, boys.
So I keep seeing children on Reddit. I keep seeing children on Reddit like joke about how like, yeah, it's World War III this time, right? Dude, it has never been like this before in my lifetime.
Yeah, this is the most World War III shit going on.
This is ridiculously close. Like if you look at, there's like there's a clear group of Axis powers and a not so cohesive and motivated group of allied powers, and they're all sort of tightening up and ratcheting things up all around the world, whether it's China, Russia, or Iran, and North Korea is always a problem for some reason.
I feel like there's a lot of weight carried. A lot of weight being carried in my mind, a lot of weight carried on U.S. boats. I'm like, those boats are really crazy, right?
Yeah.
Like one of those ships can destroy a whole country, right? That's what these things are. The super destroyers or
Pretty
whatever.
much.
They're basically like,
are those nuclear submarines?
Yeah, because they go and they like park one in like the Mediterranean, and they're like, no one, not anyone. And then I assume.
I don't want a war, though. I don't want a real war.
No, of course. Every country postures so that there isn't a war. And Israel's so the type of country to be like, yeah, but we're going to go bomb that because that's crazy. They did that. They did that with Saddam Hussein.
They didn't have to strike back. They didn't have to strike back like that thing.
No, because they defended it so well that it sent the message. It didn't have to have a response.
Dude, I don't know when Israel found out that Iran was going to send those drones and missiles, but I found out 2 days before it happened from Reddit.
It's so crazy.
From Reddit. And they didn't say one of those like murky things like there's the potential for an Iranian strike. And 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, who knows? They were like, this week the Iranians are striking. They are and they waited to the
on
end
Twitter,
of the
they're
holiday.
like, here's clips of the drones leaving.
Here's how measured look, I'm not defending Iran, but here's how measured their strike was. It was just to save face with their own people. Clearly, they waited till the moment that the Jewish holidays ended at midnight. And then it was midnight their time. And then they launched nonsense. 99% of it was stopped. Like they said a 7-year-old girl was injured. She's fine. I promise.
I think Iran has like the capability to defend itself from like a on the ground invasion very, very effectively, but I don't think they have the ability to project power across the region.
No, like they knew about this, that this was coming. They knew that Israel was contemplating targeting their nuclear facilities. But you, Taylor,
now
you bought them stealth bombers.
I bought them stealth bombers. I just sent out a check earlier this week.
All the tax money that you ever spent in your entire life flew one stealth bomber. Approximately 4 seconds. Yeah, not even.
It was the paint job.
For an eighth of a second.
Not even the paint job. No way. The paint job. No.
You paid for like that guy's.
Some senator's uncle, his firm got the paint job for $1 million per wing.
Like one Iron Dome rocket is basically all the tax money that you like.
Yeah, if not way more. Like it's hopefully this does not actually pop off because a world war would be horrific.
So Iran's going to hit back now. And they promised earlier this week that their next attack would be 100 times more powerful than their first attack. And so now they're going to attack again. Israel just struck Iran and hit 3 nuclear facilities.
Unfolding. Wow. So that's what it said. The 3 places in Iran. So everyone's like, oh, those are the nuclear facilities there.
I hope Biden pulls some support, right? Because the way my understanding.
Genocide Joe.
Yeah. So
Syria and Iran.
What happened is Iran wanted everyone to say let me start over. Iran seemingly wanted everyone to think they attacked Israel. We all knew Iran was attacking. We knew it. The four of us all knew that attack was coming. So they launched some bullshit attack full of drones that are easily shot down. U.S. shoots them down. Saudi Arabia shoots them down. United Arab Emirates shoots them down. Then obviously Israel shoots them down with the stuff we give them. And nobody's hurt. A couple missiles fall harmlessly in the sand. Biden tells Israel, hey, take the win. Just like fucking let this settle. You don't have to kick back at Iran. Let this relax. They didn't really attack you. They pretended to attack you. And if it had died there, Iran could have taken the win, said, look at these fucking flaccid bullshit, try and deal with us. They're not on my level. But no, now they have to attack Iran's nuclear facilities. Who knows where this escalates to? So I know Biden's not running this war, but like he has an influence on it. I want Biden to somehow settle this shit down. And I feel like Israel just gave us the middle finger and said, oh, did you? Because Biden told him, take the win. Look, you won. Take the win. And they're like, I have another idea. You suck a dick and I'll kick Iran's ass. And that's where we are.
Yeah, and you'll keep giving us money. And
I don't believe that, though.
I'm listening.
I think all these decisions, I think those two countries make decisions together. As much as it looks one way or it's handled one way on the outside, like Israel is America's little like pet attack dog in that area.
I'm listening.
And it's just it's.
So you don't think Israel? I don't think
America wants Iran
like
to
more
have
of the bitch in the relationship based on the history. Like they do whatever they want and then we cover it.
But there's an element of looking like a bitch that is not really concerning to higher ups these days. That's not like a big deal in that sense. It is what it is. I don't think the US wants Iran to have nuclear capabilities. I don't think anyone in office in the U.S. wants Iran to have nukes.
All right, so you've opened my mind. I do see it as feasible that America wants the world to think we didn't want this really.
Of course not, and it's people. But you don't remember? There's this thing, Operation
Genocide
Opera.
Joe playing 3D chess. You heard it here first, folks.
They way back in early 80s, late 70s, they were shopping around the F-16 fighter jets, and they were bringing around the U.S. was like it was like $25 million, 1979 money. We don't want this. We're not at war. Why would we want $25 million fighter jets? And like Israel came in and they're like, yo, we'll take 4 of those. Took them, like figured them out, learned them, whatever. They'd exercise it, and like within a couple years of getting them, flew them to Iraq and bombed a nuclear facility that was in the midst of being built. And the idea was that like this nuclear energy would be able to take that country and elevate it to such a level. And they were just like, nah, we don't trust them. And they bombed it. And the entire world was like, dude, you're literally trying to start World War III. You can't, like, once again, it's like, you can't, it's like me defending myself or just beating someone up in a fight or like some kid. And my dad grabbing me and be like, what are you doing? We raised you better than that. Give me some skin, brother. Down low. And don't you ever do that again. Grounded. And then getting in the car, closing the door, like, so you want ice cream? I feel like that's the vibe, because that happened. Everyone shit on it. But then it's like the whole like Iraq was all about weapons of mass destruction. We're looking for weapons of mass destruction. The whole thing was like looking for weapons of mass destruction. But imagine they had a nuclear reactor from 20 years ago built. Well, then the whole, I mean, well, you wouldn't be able to, I'm just saying like that whole nuclear, like you never wanted them to have nukes. And anyone building a nuclear reactor, we all know it's for nukes. And Israel's got secret nukes. They are that type of country.
I don't think Israel had to enrich uranium to get their nukes. I think we fucking mailed them some nuclear weapons that say Acme atomic weapon number 3 made in the USA, and we had.
I think they didn't
make their own.
There
No,
were
I
some
think we
things,
gave
some
them.
reports, even like the U.S. went to
They
go
made the first one.
inspect. They went to go inspect if there was nukes being made or whatever. And they got in the building and there was like whole ass walls built or like that were there. And the guys are like, oh, on the blueprints, there's supposed to be more room here. And they're like, no, that's a wall, dude. You're tripping. But it's like
Israel,
they are
like,
hiding nukes for sure. And
if
that's like,
Israel was like behaving at all at our behest at this point, or the Biden administration, however you want to put it, like, and it was them doing it in that circuitous way, like the Biden administration would have been like, hey, nothing at all until after November. None of this. None of it at all. We're not going to jeopardize, because a big giant world war is not popular with the voting public. People don't want that. And so we're doing none of this. So to me, it seems like Israel does.
And Kamala loses World War III.
It seems like Israel often does whatever they want.
Taylor, what if
and
I
then we
said
deal with it.
big wars always skyrocket a president's popularity?
I think it depends on the war. Like,
At first
I don't
it does.
know. Yeah. I
Or
don't think
now
it
we're
does.
like at the information time where even like the last war or invasion that US was part of, we look back at like, oh, that was weird.
I feel like America has war fatigue and there isn't a big appetite for it right now. But when I think of all the wars, Iraq 1, Iraq 2, Afghanistan, I'm too young for Vietnam. That's weird. But you know, all the wars that I've lived through, God, people fucking rally around the flag. They love it. Will it happen
Rock
this time?
flag eagle.
It feels like they won't, but they always do.
I don't think people want it. And so it would reflect badly on Biden and his guys if he was telling Israel to do this, which is why I don't think that.
Well, you have two
I think
choices.
they
Your
really didn't
government
want to.
either you believe in your head that they don't want war, or they think it's necessary to take other countries' power away. Like those could lead to the same thing. Like essentially, I don't imagine that a country like Iran, which is like a proxy to enemies of the USA, that they would want them to have and harness the ultimate power on the planet. Like that's the top power.
They don't want them to have
and that country fucking sucks. That's a shit. Iranian people are no. The country, fuck that country. The people are fine. The people are different from the government, and that we have to say that all the time. But the current government in Iran, this is the regime that, if you remembered months ago, the young girls out in public not wearing a hijab, so they beat her up, put her in a coma, and she dies in the hospital. This is a regime that routinely kills their youth for revolting or wanting freedom in any shape or form. This is the regime with the morale police that go around and actively, intimidate and scare and beat up and kill women and children for not doing what they're supposed to do as per, the religious doctrine.
Yeah, I don't think any of us are Iran
backwards.
fans.
Yeah,
I love Iran.
but the thing is,
come on,
it's not the
I don't
people
like
that
Iran,
are running it.
I mean,
I'll take that side with you. Let's do it. All right, first I need to figure out what are they all about? What kind of
well, first of all, you should get the name right. It's the Islamic Republic of Iran.
That's true. No, it is. Yeah, that is.
You better
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but Islamic Republic as like a prefix over there. That's like the way they put like football club, like in Europe on all their teams. Something FC. It's just
I hope that Harley is right, but I think that everybody's been flying by the seat of their pants since October 7th, and it's this is just all reactionary. And BB is in election year, I think maybe, and he's just going to let heads roll. He doesn't care.
I feel
he feels
like
now's
do
the
some Trump
time.
shit. He's going to do some Trump shit and be like, I'm not leaving office until this war's over.
Do you remember this? It might have been the night of the State of the Union afterwards, where he was like, Netanyahu's going to have a come to Jesus meeting. Like, do you remember that? It was like a hot mic secret catch. Mm-hmm. Now, either Harley's off target with this, or the hot mic secret catch is all part of the ruse.
I don't think he'd be part of the ruse. I would think
he killed him the first time.
He's like, I feel like this is like, I don't believe anyone that works in politics. I don't believe anyone, and I don't believe we get enough of a picture to make an accurate aspect. So I try and break it down to the most basic thing possible. And I'm like, ultimately, what would be more important to the U.S. than Iran not having nukes? I can't think of anything else that would be more important right now on the brink of World War III that another enemy of the country doesn't harness that power. So I'm just assuming then that that's how it is. And I do think Israel for sure has to act out of line. Because if you are the one outpost in the middle of the Middle East that is an ally to the U.S., you kind of understand your leverage. Let's be honest, they're Jews. You know,
UAE.
You understand. Yeah, but it's not quite like Israel. Israel's literally like
Egypt.
Yeah.
Like Israel's on the U.S.'s lap. Like they're sitting on their lap.
Jordan.
Chad's
in Africa.
But like these are
Close
like, you
enough,
know, like think about Jordan. I think it's crazy. I think it's crazy when Egypt and Jordan, countries like Egypt and Jordan are like, yeah, Israel over Iran. That's bizarre to me.
Yeah, I don't see the value a lot of people in politics seem to with our like undying money giving allegiance to Israel. It's like I don't see what we get out of it as American
I don't
people.
understand why it's so much money.
Yeah.
I don't understand why the U.S. has to spend so much money. But then again, I'm sure if I broke down every aspect of the government, I'd be like, that's a lot of money spent on.
And look at how
and
particularly Republicans respond to Israel issues in America. Like they'll be like, "Hey, Senator, whatever the fuck, Republican from Iowa, 60,000 people in the Midwest died from opioids smuggled in through the south of the border," and they're like, "That's a damn shame. That we got to do something about that." And then they're like, "Hey, this country 3,000 miles away needs money," and they're like, "You'll have to carry me out on my shield before I turn down money to Israel." And it's like, this is unbelievable.
Because it's like, you know what? It's beyond personal. It becomes religious at that point, and there's some sort of religious connection being made also. It has all the workings for World War III shit. It's like really
it's
fucked
where Christ is coming back, right? Taylor, help me out here. Isn't Christ supposed to come back over there? Like isn't he supposed to be reborn? No.
Oh, he comes back. He's coming to America.
There are some evangelicals.
He's coming to America.
But that comes down to like biblical interpretation.
Well,
like,
I wasn't asking for your personal opinion.
No, I'm saying like it comes down to biblical interpretation.
Like,
if you're like
definitely not.
No man will know the day or the hour. But like traditionally,
I can tell if he's here though. If the Sixers win, my prayers came true. So
yep, that's how you'll know. But like traditionally, like Israel, as it's referenced in the Bible, is like that. Those are people who are saved. That's the church. Like it's referring to Israel in that way. It's relatively recent amongst particularly evangelical Christians, like a lot of these megachurch guys, you know, in the past, 80, 100 years.
Zechariah 14:4 states, "On that day, his feet will stand on the mountain of Olives east of Jerusalem, and the mountain of Olives will be split in two."
Yeah.
Let's find that mountain real quick.
Hold on.
That mountain of Olives.
What I'm addressing is like this idea that a lot of evangelical Christians have that like Israel as a country as it exists geopolitically in 2024 is like a war there is going to trigger the end times.
Oh,
like, and that is what historically Christianity did not believe this. Like Israel as it's referenced there in the Bible is like that's the church. Those are the followers of Christ, the people.
I didn't see him in the picture, so we're probably good for now.
Yeah, I didn't see him there either.
I didn't understand what you were saying. That historically, evangelicals said they're going to come back to Israel, right?
I'm saying that like in the past 150 years, like evangelicals, Christians in particular, have like formed a belief that Israel is a plot of land in the Middle East, and that is like penultimately what it is. It's not the way in the Bible Israel is used to refer to followers of Christ, like the way that Jesus said, like the church isn't a place you go. The church is you, the people, my followers, my believers. That is the church. Similarly with Israel, he meant like my followers, like that's what it was. Not this one plot of land in the Middle East. Something's going to kick off there specifically, and then that will be the undoing of all.
I understood that Zechariah passage to mean that Christ will come back on the Mountain of Olives through some.
He'll make some stops. He'll make some stops.
Well,
yeah, he's gonna pop around.
That's also
he's a little like Santa Claus. He visits everybody.
Yeah,
but the spot where Jesus was crucified is there too. Though it's on another little hill in Jerusalem.
Yeah, I don't agree with the interpretation. I'm saying that the geopolitical existence of Israel as a state in 2024 is this crux of and their standing with Iran has to do with the end times. But if you look at a lot of evangelicals in particular, that's their belief. They think, oh, when something kicks off in this country, end times begin. Well, and there are some people who are like actively rooting for that.
Well, of course, you want the Lord to come back and save you, right? You don't want to sit down there in purgatory or wherever the fuck waiting to go to heaven. Nobody's in heaven. We talk about that a lot, but nobody's there yet. There's like a handful of famous people in the Bible, you know, they got like a personal, like
Moses is up there, Abraham's up there.
Who took the fiery chariot?
My grandmother, I think.
No, she's in the ground. She's in the ground in purgatory, like all the souls.
It's not until the end times that they'll be raptured to heaven.
I don't see this news anywhere.
Elijah is who went up to heaven in a fiery chariot.
Yeah, they attacked apparently on the way to Iran.
He gets a special
Syria
line
in Iraq.
He's in the fucking. He's in
my rabbi.
He hits that Star of David on his phone and immediately gets the up to date shit.
And I'm like, hello, patch me through to the tunnels.
Patch me through to the tunnels. Careful, the Gentiles are getting too close. They're gonna figure out what we're up to down here.
I wish they hadn't done it. I know I might be wrong.
Of course, no, me too. Like they blocked, they swatted away all the flies. That there was no other message that had to be sent.
And they told them they were doing it.
They must have. They did. They told them.
An open secret. Everybody knew.
But no. But Iran also knew after that Israel was going to target their nuclear. Well, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, so is this a thing where it's like you bait them into, like, are they baited into anything?
Iran's going to strike again. I bet they sink a boat or something. Like they seem to be more adept at sinking commercial stuff and pirating commercial stuff than like striking Israel proper. But they're going to do something big and scary. They said they would. They can't not now. It's like the playground all over again. Like Billy spit on Tommy. Tommy said if Billy spit on him, he's going to kick his ass, and he spit all over him over there. Here it comes.
I see it more like, I forgot the players' names, but you know, Billy said he was going to spit on Tommy, completely missed him. Yet Tommy still feels compelled to have a big fight because he can't fucking take a win.
Yep. It was just a little spittle.
He missed. We deflected it.
No one even got wet.
There was wind or something. Like it was wind. You know, it didn't get him. He missed entirely. He could just be like, yeah, you know what? He failed to spit on me. We're going to let it end there. They could have.
I can't imagine how off it is to be in Gaza right now. Like that's just, I'm glad we're here. My dad used to always say that, like, and probably still does, I guess. But he's like, we'd be out on like a bright sunny day. He's like, so glad we're here. So happy that we're here and not like in Iraq or Afghanistan fighting for nonsense or any of the awful places on the planet there are to be, just to be like out in a field, like, I don't know, riding a tractor or something, doing exactly what you wanted to do.
It's just cool that I was here on PKA when World War III started.
Yeah. We'll remember this. We'll tell our grandkids what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Imagine
back
how
in
much
the day were these people called Jews. I remember. See, they don't exist anymore. But one.
I remember when World War III.
They're like elves.
It was an okay topic, but then we
noses.
transitioned to fake Game of Thrones. And
is it true they lived under the ground, Papa? Yes, son. That is
Some
true.
people believe there are no Jew women
right here.
They just spring out the tunnels in the ground. It's because we're all so close to the truth. When do you take flack? When you're over the target. They're coming after us.
Is that what's happening at Columbia University? They're too close to the truth.
That's right.
I don't know. I haven't been. You've been loving that. I haven't been following it.
I don't think you turn the news on. That's why you think I'm loving it, because it's like the biggest news story in the country, that every university basically that holds 50 or 80,000 people or so, they're rioting and protesting and taking up big areas and making the Jews go home and hide. And now the police have been called in a few of the universities. I know UT did it, Texas, and somewhere else. I don't think they've done it in New York. But they're coming and dragging them out and taking the tent cities down and such.
They're taking their tents.
Yeah.
Go back to your dorms, college kids.
Yeah,
they're putting them in a subsidized dorm at the local jail. They locked up a lot of people today.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, the protesters.
Who's right, Kyle? Who's doing the right thing?
No nuance. Pick a side.
Students have Hamas and as part of their groups, they talk about, from the river to the sea, they're flying Palestinian flags, chanting "Death to America," and their professors, tenured professors who are on the board that overlooks all the other professors, are espousing the exact same thing.
Still confused. Who's right?
Jewish. A Jew said something. He was like, "Get out of here! I don't want you in my classroom." There's hearings going on, people going to jail, and there's like tens of thousands of
I missed what you said. A Jewish professor said, "Get out of here" to the protesters.
No,
a lefty professor was like, "Jews, get out of here."
Yeah, it was a Jewish student was kicked out of class because they disagreed with something about anyone who supports Israel as a baby. The people who joined the IDF are baby killers, and what was the other thing? Something about Israel being evil and Zionists and genocidal. Oh, no. He defended October 7th. It was his comments on October 7th as well. He was like, "It's amazing. We never thought anything like this could be achieved. It's so great. What an achievement. What an innovative solution to the Zionist machine." They made it sound like they had invented a new way to cook popcorn.
Paramotor, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's going on this week. Yeah, it's pretty fun to watch. I like seeing people get pepper sprayed, so I'm always down for something like that.
But I watch a lot of politics, more than I try to talk about. I'll see a video that's 4 days old and be like, "Pish posh! What is this? A History Channel?"
Yeah,
like
even a day old. It's like I wanted to know what was happening in Israel now. Like I don't. I know it was bad yesterday. Show me how bad it got today. Did they burn the children? Did they put lemon juice in their eyes first? What did they do today? Did they make? Are they throwing yarmulke shurikens? I mean, Star of David shurikens now? Like I never know what to expect. I want to know the most up to date thing. Oh, you must be really happy that the vote came through and we got all that funding for Ukraine and Israel and Taiwan.
Oh yeah. Dude, Republicans are such bitches. They're like, we're not going to vote for anything unless there's border control. And the Democrats are like, there's money for Israel. And the Republicans are like, vote.
Well, I think they split it into three and they voted for all of them individually. And I look at it through a different lens and I could be wrong. But Jeff Jackson, he's a House of Rep guy in North Carolina. And I bet you've seen him because he does these really well-spoken TikTok videos where he lays out what's happening. And he praised Mike Johnson. And they're in different teams, whatever. But he's like, this is bad for Mike Johnson's career. But he felt like his conscience required him to put this forward. Even though it's bad for him personally, he felt like it was the right thing to do. And in politics, that's rare. And I was like, okay. So looking at it through
his conscience, I bet it's his largest donors.
This is the guy whose son keeps an eye on his masturbatory habits. You realize that, right? This guy is a true believer. Him and his son have some sort of chastity app where they make sure neither one watches porn and they stay pure. Like this guy is a real deal true believer.
Whatever he wants to do with his son, in their app.
That's between him and his.
I think you misunderstand the nation of the masturbation app.
It's so ridiculous. Another $900 billion, $95 billion. What a joke.
I don't know why you're so upset with these job programs. The majority of that money stays here, goes to American companies in America.
I often hear about the
majority
where it's received.
A lot of it doesn't.
I don't. What's a lot? Because the majority of the money, more than half,
you'll be blown away to know this, that it could all be spent here, or we could not print more money.
So what happens, Taylor?
Tell that to Raytheon. Those poor bastards at Raytheon.
Tell that to Israel. They're just barely scratching.
So when we ship like tanks and Humvees and stuff over there, we're not making them and giving them the new stuff. We're giving them the stuff that was going to be expired out. And the Ukrainians are more than happy to have like 15-year-old American tanks. It's better than nothing. And then America, instead of those tanks going to, I'll make it armored vehicles. Instead of them going to some stupid police force that doesn't need armored vehicles, it goes to Ukraine, and then the army gets a fresh one. I kind of like it.
The artillery shells is the interesting thing because the artillery shells,
we pay for that. We just paid for that with our taxes.
I know it's happening right now, and it's great.
We pay for a grocery store with how much inflation's been caused by.
I think in Scranton, Pennsylvania, I remember because of The Office. Like, there's a factory there full of people like us who are working the job because of this. They're
you consider yourself working a job?
I consider myself an American human.
Okay, yeah. Well, I agree.
He's those factories are working overtime, and those are just blue collar, like go in and clock out, making artillery shells, the tubes anyway. They don't deal with the explosive part, but like I kind of like that. It's that doesn't bother me that we're sending artillery shells to shoot at Russians. I mean,
I can kind of get on board.
If there was a box to check, I've always said I wish that it was selective taxation, where like, okay, you can have that much of my money. That's fair. I can vote and legislate, but you pick that number. That's how much of my shit you get. Here's where I allow it to go. It can go to this place. You can send my money here. You can send my money. I'd put a big circle around artillery shells for Ukraine. That's where I want my money to go.
I mean, for you, that's where you'd want it to go. But like, and I saw in polls, like this is not popular with like American voters. But what's popular with American voters doesn't seem to fucking matter ever. They're going to vote in favor to send our money to foreign countries and protect their interests before ours. We built a border wall for Israel. We built them a border wall.
They needed it.
It's a joke. It's a fucking joke.
Walls only work there.
Taylor's anti-border wall noted.
I'm anti-paying for Israel.
No. You've been heard. Don't say no more.
I would love to take all that money and do literally anything else.
I wonder if America and the world would be a better place if the system Kyle just suggested was implemented, where you're like, you know what? 0 of my money goes to Israel. 0 of my money goes to, I don't know, something else I don't like. But I will check the Ukraine box, and I will check the, I don't know, police department box. Or
they probably couldn't do that because people wouldn't be.
Nobody pay for education. It doesn't work. Like they.
Oh, I think education's pretty popular.
Not when it's your money. Not when it's popular among people who have children. You want all those people who don't have children to not circle that box, because without them, you can't educate. We already can't educate the children.
I hear you, but in my area, whenever they put like school bonds on the thing, they pass like every gosh darn time. On the, there's like questions, answer yes to 1A. You see it in the.
Would you like kids to have more smarter?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, based on that grammar.
I don't know.
Yeah, I tend to vote yes, and I like it. It's even more self-serving than you might guess if you're a homeowner, because
I'd rather send my money to Ukraine than to a teacher or to a child to help them learn.
No, Taylor doesn't have any kids, but if his school systems are better, his homeowner the value of his house goes up.
Yeah, like I'm much more okay with funding schools than I am with funding a losing effort in Ukraine.
What about Palestinian schools?
A losing effort. You guys never heard of a rally cap? Come on, baby. Turn that thing around. We can do this. We're coming back.
Ukraine's having a hard time.
We're getting new stuff next week.
It's over.
We're getting some new stuff.
The Ukrainians don't want to fight. That's why they have to hold them at gunpoint and move 55 people in the front lines. It's over.
First of all, they lowered the subscription age down to 25 now from 28 or 27 or whatever it was. Now we're taking the 25-year-olds too. That's going to be fresh blood for the effort. And they're getting the ATACMS missiles next week. They're getting the long-range ATACMS artillery missile thingies. That's going to be good for business. At some point, they're getting more Patriots from the Germans. It's looking good, Taylor.
It's so over.
You're such a nervous Nelly over there. I don't know how. You got to be a team player.
What's the city that they're on the edge of losing? Do you still follow it closely?
I don't see you wave that flag. We're going to have a problem.
Yeah, get your Ukrainian flag.
No, I've said before, I'm not a 2-color flag guy unless they have an animal on it, like Albania.
Sick flag.
Yeah, it's a sick flag.
I don't like detailed flags.
Russia's flag isn't great either if we're ripping on flags.
Russia?
It's France's flag remixed.
That's what I'm saying. I don't like France's flag. I don't like Russia's flag.
But I like the Soviet Union flag, kind of.
Oh, shit, that thing's hard.
Is pretty neat.
I like simple flags.
Hammer and
I like
sickle.
Japan's flag is pretty good. I think I'm biased in liking America's flag. If it wasn't America's, I'd call it too detailed.
You see that picture of Trump miscoloring the American flag?
With what, like green?
No, you know how I don't even know what it starts with. It's like
red, white, blue.
Red. Is that how it goes? Red, white, blue, red, white, blue. I thought it was just red, white, red, right, red, right. Am I crazy? And then the blues where the stars are. Okay.
Blues on the stars. There's no blue.
So what he did is he did red, and then he skipped 2 spaces and did red again, I think. And then he had like a double white, and he's like, "Oh, now I'm fucked." But I'm like, I look. There's a lot of things to fuss at about Trump, but that's not on my list. But
yeah.
It has to start with red at the top. It would look goofy with a white thing at the top.
Yeah, it wouldn't skip 2 spaces. He went red, white, white, red.
Yeah, and fucked it up.
And there was definitely and he's just like, shit. And there's kids around him. You know, the whole point is he's coloring with kids for like a photo op.
That's funny.
I like to believe that he didn't color at all because his hands are shaky, or he's lazy, and someone else had colored it poorly. Maybe a child even. Maybe he took a child, slid it over to him, and give me that. Give me that. This was mine. He goes, "This is mine." The kid's like, "It says baby." This is the president's. And the Secret Service like Billy.
This is what the Democrats want. No one gets their own flag.
I've been watching so much trial news that I literally like flipped on Fox News because I'm like, Woody, your information diet is all sugar. I'm just reading about Trump falling asleep and farting like all the time. And which is he's fallen asleep 4 out of the 5 days in court. And apparently he's farting loudly and stinkily to the point where his attorneys are like reacting.
Yes, we have a serious media apparatus.
People are flinching. I'm told from the cacophonous fart.
Right. So I've read that too much, and I'm like, Woody, get your ass on Fox News.
The bailiff don't have a balanced diet. He thought there was an attack.
Fox News is retarded. Like my grandparents will have it on sometimes.
Fox News is retarded.
Fox News is retarded. Like I don't think they're any worse than CNN or the rest.
It's still part of getting a balanced information diet.
Fox News on, and the stuff they're talking about is like, this is like, it's just a guy coming on and being like, now I know some of you are upset that we're just infinitely funding more foreign wars, but it's really important for super duper secret reasons that I can't elucidate fully. And it's like, fuck you.
Mike Johnson actually said something very similar to that. He said that he was against this stuff previously, but now he's in, I think it's called the Gang of Eight, because he's the Speaker of the House. He gets intel that he didn't get previously.
Since I was threatened with problems from intelligence agencies, I've changed my tune.
Oh, come on. That's not
well, I can't know what the details are, but he is saying that now that he's part of the Gang of Eight and he's getting the same intel briefings that a president would get, he's on the other side of the issue. Now you can call that a lie or propaganda or whatever. I can't know, but that's
what he saw. You know what they told him? They told him that Putin doesn't just plan to take a couple of regions in a neighboring country, that he plans to take the country. And then he wants Kazakhstan, and then he wants to invade the Baltics, and he wants Poland. What he wants is to restore the Soviet Union. That's what they told him.
Absurd. He can't invade.
That's absurd. Hitler only wants the Reichland. Leave him alone.
You can't invade Poland.
We will not defend Poland.
Poland is a NATO country.
Oh, that's why. Okay. I was waiting for the reasoning.
Well, he wouldn't want a World War III. I think what they saw is he does want it, that he doesn't think that it'll matter, that he thinks what's happening in Ukraine will play out again, that there'll be a big outrage. He'll take it for a year because he has a huge meat grinder to like throw more people at. A year later, who cares about Poland? Poland? Was it Poland that needed
help? They weren't
Poland,
really
Poland
NATO.
Poland is a NATO country. He can't just invade Poland.
Yeah, it's just different levels of NATO, right? They're not UK.
Yep.
That's the rationale we're given to justify infinite spending. He's not. He's not going to take Poland. That's ridiculous.
I think that.
Do you know any other things about the future? Is there money to be made here?
There clearly is. We just paid for a lot of people.
Because I like some stock tips, if you could tell.
I just don't think a lot of people thought.
I'm saying the reason that he invaded Ukraine when he did is because he wanted to preempt them being involved in NATO. Because if Ukraine was made a NATO country,
the second time he invaded Ukraine, you talking about the second time he invaded Ukraine?
Both times. The second time was principally because we were like, it was finally really getting drummed up of like, Ukraine's going to be NATO, and he was like, I'm not cool with that. We're not doing that. Because I don't want, NATO military bases close to my border. And so he invaded Ukraine before they could be put in NATO in order to avoid what would happen if he invaded a country like Poland, which would be a swift and gigantic response from NATO nations, which he can't handle.
Which ones? Which ones are so tough and scary that he can't deal with?
Spain, the United States.
None of them have the production. So what the reports say is that all of Europe are so bad at manufacturing weapons of war because they haven't had to do it. Yeah, they have stockpiles, but now they've depleted those stockpiles by giving them to Ukraine. So now if a hot war goes off there, they can't defend themselves for weeks or months. They'll be overrun. They'll run out of bullets.
I don't think Russia has the manpower to invade Western Europe, and
they've done it before.
Really don't want to, at this juncture in history. I don't think they can compete economically or militaristically with an alliance of Germany, France, Spain, the United Kingdom, Poland, the United States.
I don't know about you, but I can't tell what's true anymore. I read
The GDP
somewhere
is 20 to 1.
I read they have more tanks now than they did at the start of the Ukrainian conflict, and I'm like, what?
Their army's bigger. Their army's bigger now than the beginning.
They have good manufacturing for military stuff. They do. And so, but I would struggle to believe they have more tanks now than at the beginning. But I don't know.
I do too. But I read it was on the internet, so it's true.
It's on the internet, so it's true.
I don't know about tanks, but definitely manpower because they just brought up more men.
But there was a time when I read that Russia's economy was hurting because they lost so many fighting age men, which are some of the most productive people in a country. Like a million left the country so they wouldn't get conscripted, and then like another million joined the war effort. I'm making up numbers, but go with it. And now that's like a huge drain on a national productivity. And now we go forward, 30 months? I don't know how long it's been. And you're telling me you're better than you were 30 months ago? You have more tanks than before? You have a bigger army than before? I can't tell what's true.
Yeah,
so that would be my guess, though. Like if I had to guess, that it's that there is a potential for a new Axis powers with China, and who's clearly supporting Russia in their war effort. We're going to censor China.
Iran.
We're going. What do you do when you hit them with economic sanctions? We're going to sanction China this week because of their support for the Russian war effort in Ukraine. That's happening now. I don't know. I see Indian fighters fighting for Russia who are being paid. You know, it's
like mercenaries.
Yeah,
I wonder if that's significant.
Yeah. I don't know. I just saw one on the battlefield get blown up.
It's so easy to I don't know. Take one Jewish protester. They get poked in the eye, and then suddenly, oh man, the Jewish people are anti-Semitism is sweeping America.
That example,
this tiny little example is whatever, or to take one dead child.
Icarus over here.
Can we talk? I know it's getting
news 10 years ago, and I don't know. I'm sorry.
So, have you been following what's going on at Columbia?
A little.
All right, mass student protests. They've created a tent city, and it is big. Helicopters pan over the tent city. It's a whole huge area, and they've got nice tents because they're all Columbia students.
Sure.
Yeah. And they got fucking
REI tents.
Yeah, they're out there in fucking circles singing songs and shit. Got their Palestinian flags everywhere. They're chanting
Wall Street.
They're chanting scary slogans and stuff like stop the genocide now and
that's bad.
But lots of assaults, lots of arrests. The president resigned. The faculty walked out today as in support. So that's probably not a great look. I don't know if that's Columbia or not, but NYU is a similar situation. The tent city I saw I see palm trees. So,
I understand your skepticism thing.
Yeah. So,
Kyle showed me a picture though. It's kind of it's a tent city. It looks like that.
Yeah, there you go. That's it.
That's the exact picture. That's the same 4 orange tents.
But then today, to sort of make your point, Woody, I saw a Jewish woman wearing a shirt that said Jew on it, and on the back it had I don't know, it's a flag.
Israel.
And she was and she just went and stood in front of these people, but it wasn't during a rowdy time. It was while they were chilling and just sitting over there peacefully for real. And she's just standing there Jew here. Anyone want some? Jew here. She's she's literally turning, to face east, north, south, and west. She's doing her cardinal turns, presenting herself as Jew woman who will stand.
Wait, are you telling me the media is pretending the anti-Semitism there is worse than it is?
I saw a woman
there is serious. There,
she was participating.
The Jews had to go home from fear. All of the Jewish students were sent home out of.
So I saw a Jewish woman participating in this debate. I think she might have been a Columbia student, and she was on there talking about how they beat her and hurt her eye and this and that. 0 visible injuries, and it was 3 days ago. I'm like, bitch, if you're completely fine, telling me
they have a healing factor.
Okay, Wolverine.
Potions.
I'm not buying your story. There isn't a mark on no scratches, no evidence of hair pulling. It is so nothing.
What are you implying she's lying is anti-Semitism in its purest form?
That's fair. Yeah. Okay.
Harkening back
uncritically
to the slurs of the old.
Yeah.
Speaking of the
I'm a big enough UFC fan that I know post-fight. She didn't look like that.
That shit is fucking ridiculous.
Well, I mean, the students were told to stay home. All the Jewish ones were, for
out of
safety.
abundance of caution.
Wow, they get all their special holidays, and now they don't have to go to school at Columbia. Dude, if I were Jewish, I'd be playing this up for everything I could. I'd be like, I'm so sad I can't study at all. I can't imagine taking all my tests coming up. I can't even fathom it. Better just give me an A.
But I think this is going to be this is how Trump wins. Like it's all of this craziness. If things were smooth sailing, no wars in fucking Europe, no tent cities, all
those people are going to vote for Biden.
If fentanyl wasn't a thing.
Destiny, Bill Maher. I feel like they're out there representing progressive or liberal or whatever views without being fucking wackos that think men menstruate. Like it's like these are my people. Destiny. I saw him on that Fox News debate. He's pro Second Amendment like me, and he just dropped in like I love the Second Amendment. I just got a sick 9/11 yesterday, and it was like like if I'm a Fox News viewer and that's the liberal I'm watching, I think, oh, so they're not all fucking overweight, septum, flabby tricep waving women screaming about something, right? Purple hair, flabby tricep. You can picture this liberal.
He has purple hair. You're describing.
Destiny might sometimes does have purple hair.
And I think he has doesn't he have like a?
But he's not a girl with a nose ring.
I think he has a modern sort of relationship situation as well, right? Like maybe some sort of throuple or open situation.
I don't keep up with them much.
Oh,
I think Kyle's on target. Yeah.
There's no way she left his successful ass, Zach. I choose to disbelieve that.
Choose to disbelieve.
But yeah. So anyway, when I saw him loving the Second Amendment and talking about like what he liked about America, I was like, this is the guy who I think represents my side a little better. I get very frustrated when it's some cry bully, being upset that you're supposed to give me a safe space. It's like
Bill Maher's your guy. All right, so yeah, I agree with Bill Maher so much. I'll say this: I agree with 95% of Bill Maher's segments. I sent you 8 minutes of a segment on WhatsApp. If you scroll up, and there's one part where he's like, some of you people will support your own party even when its chosen message is kid fucking. like his whole, he's like, here's a 5-year-old tipping a trans stripper with a sign on the wall that says, it's not gonna lick itself. And there's a video of it happening. So which is he's presenting his ideas viscerally. Like he's got video evidence of children being exposed to fucking nonsense, and he's just tearing down that part of the left piece by piece by piece, while circling the horses around himself and look, I'm for this and I'm for that, but who are you people? Yeah, it's really good. I like Bill Maher.
I do not. I've never found him funny.
I think he's. I'm not looking for exactly comedy. I really enjoy the way that he makes his points and how he boils things down, and that it's a liberal voice making sense, like what he said.